Friends, fans, and fine folk, grab your drinks and snacks and come on down to this homebrew review with CinderBlocksally!
Hello! It is my show now! I am CinderBlocksally, and welcome to my new channel, Robert Hartley GM. It's the best channel you'll ever see! And if you
Meanwhile,
with me,
over here on
take it up with the
CinderBlocksally's
editor.
channel, I am taking over this channel. This is now my channel.
no.
We're going to swap channels, which will benefit Cinder on Twitch and me on YouTube. So, we're just...
intro?
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that works. Does that work for you, Finn?
Today, we are going to be looking at each other's homebrew. I am going to be seeing some of Rob's homebrew, and Rob is going to be seeing some of mine. What
I'll show
sort
you
of
mine if you
wacky
show me
antics
yours.
might we get into? There we go. If you
Perfect.
can't do
We
something
did
with that,
Then what are you even for?
then email me and I'll help you.
Alrighty.
All right, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this monstrosity.
Yeah, monstrosity affinity. All right, so it requires you having proficiency in animal handling, and then it says you have spent enough time around monstrosities that you've developed a mastery of the techniques needed to train and handle them as though they were animals. You gain the following benefits: increase your wisdom score by 1 to a maximum of 20, and you can use animal handling even when the creature you are handling is a monstrosity rather than a beast. Any spells which target beasts specifically but do not summon them may be used to target monstrosities instead. I.e., speak with animals allows for speaking to monstrosities. That's the full idea. It didn't seem very strong, so I made it a half feat, which means your wisdom stat can go up as well, because that's the stat that's usually animal handling. What do you think? Be brutal. Tear it apart. I haven't worked on that feat in probably years.
I could see situations where a druid could kind of take advantage of some of the charm beast animal messenger type spells.
Yeah, like with a centaur.
Really
There's
intense shenanigans.
some monstrosities that are like, that shouldn't be a centaur's a monstrosity.
Or like
yeah.
I'm thinking like a what's it called, a catoblepus, which shoots like a laser, as
Oh,
a
yeah, those
disintegration
ones that are
beam
like-
and stuff. So
Yeah,
there's a
true.
little bit of shenanigans there, and then there's also, I'm thinking more like weird spells like animal messenger, where it's like
right.
that's a weirdly powerful spell if I can make a monster go somewhere for me.
And,
Like,
yeah, right.
Just not
'Cause
necessarily sending the message.
you can
just
send
the
it to
monster
give the
going to the
deliver,
place.
but then you've sent a fucking roper
Exactly.
into somebody's city.
But I do like the idea overall, and I almost want to push. Like, I almost feel like you could tweak it. I totally understand a druid wanting this to be something that affects spells, but I could see a good argument for tweaking it so that you don't limit it to monstrosities. You make it so you can use animal handling checks on any creature that doesn't have a language. And it basically is like it's like monster communication more than like turning beasts into monstrosities from a spellcasting perspective.
Yeah, that makes
That
sense.
could be neat, but honestly,
Yeah,
for
'cause-
a home game, I think this would be fine. I think this would work really well
We
for
never
a home game.
We never got into any issues with it being broken by the player
Or like
that was using it, because-
conjure animals would get really fucked with this too.
Yeah, which is why I specifically say it cannot conjure them. Like any beasts.
Oh, I
that
missed that
su-
part, I missed that part.
It
Yeah,
says
yeah,
any
yeah.
spells that target beasts specifically but do not summon them. I ain't allowing you
Polymorph
to
would also be intense there, but that's why I think it would work well for a home game. But if you wanted to put this in like the public eye, I genuinely the only thing that I would do
limit it by
is I would.
like. Is there like an intelligence thing that could limit it as well? Like any monstrosity that has an intelligence less than blah, so that it's like a beast, or
You could mess around. The problem is the design of D&D is such that if they want something to be a beast, but it's a little too strong for a druid to be able to interact with, they just make it a monstrosity. So monstrosities don't really have like a thing that they are. The thing
Yeah,
that they
it's always
are
bothered me.
is better than beast. That's what they are. They're beast.
yeah.
Do you have a cow
Beast
that can
adjacent.
also breathe fire sometimes? That's a monstrosity. You know what I mean? Like,
owlbears, monstrosities, because we don't want them to abuse it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I've always
genuinely the only
always
reason why it
hated the fact that monstrosity is just kind of the miscellaneous category. They're like they don't
Yeah,
really fit
it's a
into any
bummer.
of the other 11 types or whatever it is.
no, and especially because the other ones are either so obviously a type or like very evocative of a thing. Like elementals is like a very evocative, like you are driven by one of the four elements. Undead is like got it. Aberration's another one that's like a little bit of a catch-all, but even that, it has a pretty strong vibe.
Aberration has
it's
a vibe of like,
is it psychic?
Does it?
Does
it fuck with your mind?
Is it from space? Probably.
Is it? Could in another setting? Could you just refer to it as an alien? In which case, it's probably an aberration. Yeah. I've in my games more recently, I've been toying with the idea of splitting off some of the monstrosities into another category, just called like fantasy beasts, or like some kind of like beast adjacent, beast 2.0 or something, to take like the owlbears and the stuff that in this fantasy world would just be part of the animal kingdom, and making those things a category that still keeps it separate from like druids being able to abuse them, but also makes them more of a
mythical creatures.
Mythical creatures, unicorns, maybe stuff like that.
One of my dice in my chat said that I'm not going to take credit for their idea. Sometimes I will, but not today. I wonder if I haven't heard anything about this, but I wonder if when the new monster manual comes out, that'll be a thing. I wonder if that is anywhere in the plans to like separate those things out, because it is something that I feel like people quietly complain about a lot, but I very rarely hear big complaining about, because it's very in the weeds.
Yeah, I definitely like if I was to ever put this out to the public eye, I think I would go through the list of monstrosities and be like, okay, I don't want them ever being able to manipulate or charm this sort of a creature. So what has this got that an owlbear doesn't, and how can I separate it? I think it would be possibly an intelligence thing, or I like your idea of just being like, does it have a language? Because if it's got a language, then it's probably intelligent enough to have its own like culture and stuff, and then I don't want them charming centaurs and things.
Yeah, I like playing around with mechanics like that. I built a barbarian at one point that had a feature that was they could use persuasion and intimidation checks using their strength against creatures that didn't have a language, just always. Like that was just one of their core features.
Yeah, nice.
Because that was my version of like them like Rah! To the monster.
Yeah, make yourself big.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I like that.
But I like it. I'm a big fan of it. I want more monsters. Anything that we can do to make monsters more prevalent, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, cool. The next one, quick learner. That's just like this is only going to apply if you understand my training. So in my games, I've got a training mechanic where during downtime you can roll an intelligence, a progress check to see if you're progressing in a particular skill that you're spending time on, and it's related to your intelligence. It's also affected by like whether you've got a good tutor or not and things like that. So if you are trying to teach yourself a new language in my games and you're teaching yourself from a book, it's not going to be as quick as if you sat down and was like, I'm going to spend a week of downtime paying for an actual tutor to teach me one-on-one Elvish. And it's all to do with your intelligence and stuff. So we can kind of skip this one. But yeah, it's a half feat that does your intelligence check, and you're more likely to be training quickly and doubling up, and you're more able to train in your skills. Because the other thing in my games is you can train anything. If you want to increase your dexterity modifier, you can do so. You can just train that. If you want to train in the animal handling skill, you can train for that. If you want to train in some new weapon or whatever, then you can train for that. Even magic and stuff. If you want to learn cantrips and things in my games, you can do that if you spend enough downtime doing it.
I like that. My players don't. I love my players. I love them.
I love the tone that tells me you're about to say otherwise.
They still like have a hard time finding their own class features on their character sheets a lot of the time. So while I definitely go out of my way to give them cool stuff, I very rarely try to give them new mechanics or like mini mechanics inside the big ones, because inevitably what it turns into for them is the margin of their character sheet gets covered in a paragraph of scribble that just makes the rest of their sheet more confusing, but they never read it again.
Yeah, got it.
I love them, but that's what ends up happening.
I do find that the training feature of my games is very self-limiting. Like people don't take me up on the training all that often, because they're like, I don't want to take a week of downtime to learn a new skill, and I don't want to be doing this and this. Like most often, training comes into it in my games when people are like sitting down for a campfire at the end of the night, and I say, right, what are you doing before your long rest? You've got like 2 hours. and they go, "Oh, I'll spend 2 hours practicing my lockpicking so that I can get slightly better at thieves' tools and stuff." And so they'll do it. They'll chip away at it a little by little. They won't take like an entire day to be like, "I'm just going to take a day of downtime to study the Dwarvish language."
Yeah. Listen, Dwarvish is okay, but is that the language you'd want to learn?
Depends on the setting, doesn't it? If we're getting into it, if I'm in a party that is a lot of dwarves, then I probably want to learn Dwarvish so that we all have a shared language.
Okay. I accept that. I guess what I was thinking was, I feel like I would go for one of the big crazy ones. Like, give me Celestial.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? I want to be able to talk to gods.
Well, that's the thing though, because it's a different. Because how my training document works is that you have a target number that you eventually go for. That's why you're rolling your intelligence checks and stuff and seeing if you're progressing that skill or not. And you have to get to a particular target number. And if you're learning Celestial, well, for one thing, there are certain languages in my games that are just straight up, you can't learn them if you're a human because you just don't have the vocab to do it. You can't possibly emulate the sounds of deep speech, for instance. So you can learn to understand it, but you can never learn to speak it, kind of thing. But if you are learning Celestial, the target number will be way higher than if you're learning Dwarvish, and so it might be a benefit to be like, I'll just learn Dwarvish first. I also have included some polyglot things, like how once you've learned a language, a second language, learning a third is actually slightly easier, and learning a fourth is slightly easier than that because you're starting to understand like syntax and things that actually applies to all languages. I've got that included in my games as well. Like if you already know 3 languages and you're trying to learn a fourth, it makes it slightly easier. Last feat that I've made is Whipmaster. This again was a request from one of my players once who wanted to make a character that was going to be a super cool guy with a whip. And he looked at whips and they're just like really shitty. they're just like a D4 damage and nothing else. And he's like, but it's so flavorful and cool. Could we have a feat that makes it like better? And then he never ended up playing the character, but it was a fun feat to come up with anyway.
Let's take a look. Let's see what you got going on here. Let's see. We've spent so much time with a whip that you have learnt. Oh, you're from another country than me. Learnt how to utilize it in ways few others have. While wielding a whip, you gain the following benefits. The die becomes a d6. When you hit with an attack using the whip, you can choose to forego damage to instead grapple the target or knock them prone. Cool, I like that. If grappling this way, the grapple ends if the target takes an action to remove the whip. That makes sense. You can choose to remove the whip, ending the grapple, no action. You've learned to wrap the whip around a protruding object or handle or branch and secure it strongly enough to hold your full weight. Indiana Jones.
Yep.
While you're wielding a whip, other creatures provoke opportunity attacks from you when they enter your reach. This opportunity attack must be made using the whip, if at all. Interesting.
You can whip them as they walk in, and if you want to, you can forego the damage of it to knock them prone. So it makes them harder to actually get to you. And stuff.
There's only one thing I don't like about it, but everything else I think is completely solid. I think this works well. The only thing that I don't love about this is that this is so nitpicky right now. This is like the nitpick of nitpicks.
That's why I came to you, Cinder.
I don't love, because when I'm thinking about a fighter, I want to make sure, like, this is a feat that a lot of people could use, but a fighter with whips would be fun.
Yeah.
And if I'm thinking about a whip fighter, I'm thinking trick shots. So, like, this sort of makes sense. But the problem that I see a little bit is that it sort of does the same thing that a lot of Battlemaster maneuvers do. That's the only thing that I would say, is that I feel like a lot of, maybe not even a lot, maybe it's just the one thing. But overall, I like it. I think it's cool.
Because a Battlemaster would be expending resources to do it, though.
Yeah. That's true.
D6, I did wonder, like a D6 up to a D8 or something. And as somebody said in my chat, I did consider something about thunder damage as well. Like you can make a crack, you can make a whip crack with it to
that
do
would
a
be
D4
such a
thunder
cool
damage
idea.
to everyone around or something. Yeah.
That would be. I like that idea a lot too. Maybe it gets like a special action it can do.
Yeah, fighters and melee folk don't tend to get a lot of like non-magical damage, like elemental damage and things. And so if you were going up against something that is resistant to slashing damage, and so the whip's not doing much, you could instead just crack it for thunder damage instead of something, maybe.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So
Very,
that was fun.
very cool.
I have because I made it and this player of mine didn't end up using it. I just ended up using it myself in a homebrewed character that I played in one of Dreaded GM's games. I was like, hey, can I play a Whipmaster with my own feet? And I sent it them, and I don't think they even looked at it, but they were like, yeah, whatever, I trust you. So it was a very fun character to play, that Whipmaster. Yeah,
Dude, I'd play Whipmaster. Whipmaster sounds cool.
That sounds cool. Those are the 3 feats that I've come up with so far. As and when they come up as appropriate, I might actually make some more. But that's all I got on feats. Have you ever made feats? Do you make feats often?
I am looking right now to see if I have any feats that I've made before. I don't know. Give me 1 second.
I mean, people can see it slightly on my stream right now, but I've got a lot of stuff that I've created over the years. Feats is the least of them, but I've also created. Let me shrink it down so I can actually fit everything on. If I show off my home brewery page, let's see. I have made beasts, a lot of new beasts, because I'm not happy with the way that Wizards of the Coast handles animal stat blocks and things. As someone who used to work at a zoo and has an interest in zoology and biology, I'm quite disappointed in a lot of the animal stat blocks. So I started a very large process of redoing all of the beasts essentially.
I was watching you do that a little bit on stream.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. Can I open this in my? Can I get this on screen? Give me 1 second. I do have some feats I want to show you. I don't know if they're good. Honestly, I made these a long time ago. But here, let me see. Can I put them online really quickly? Can I quickly get these online?
What else do I want to show you? I want to show you some of my items, because I've got some pretty fun items. Items are always fun. That's pretty much where my bread and butter is for what I find most interesting is like magic items.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I like stat blocks sometimes, but they get a little bit boring sometimes as well. And I'm not so great at actually predicting which parts of my stat blocks are actually going to be used in a fight. I'll make a character, I'll make a stat block rather, and then I'll put it into a fight and be like, oh, I can't wait to use this cool feature or this cool legendary action that I gave it or this thing, and then realize halfway in that it's not really coming up. They're not really using it because there's just better things to be doing with your action each turn.
Here I quickly posted this on Imager. This is probably the worst way to post a thing, but I couldn't find the original document. I could only find the picture of it. But here's some feats I made a while ago.
All right, let's go, baby. I'm showing it on my stream. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's cool that I'm showing it on stream. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. I want to check.
I'm trying to figure out. I gotta get my window a little bit better situated.
Monstrous Feats Part 1.
Oops.
Was there a second part? Did you make it? Maybe I should. We'll do this.
I'm fucking everything up.
A little bit.
Fucking everything
half
up
at a time so that I can double the size of it. There you go. Monstrous Feats Part 1.
Wait, my chat can't even see it. I fucked up my whole screen.
GM Workshop says, imagine making a stat block and then your players just blow past it. Imagine that. Impossible. we skipped like 40% of his content during the Dragonlance campaign. Just constantly going, we're going to cast this spell, and that's it. We're done. The penultimate big bad evil guy of the entire campaign. I came in and I was like, all right, do we want to fight this thing? Because I can just skip it. and Rackham's face was like, you fucking what? I was like, yeah, I've got this spell and I've got this other thing that allows it to be an automatic hit without a need for a save. And then that means that the dragon is just completely restrained. And then we can just wail on it with a dragon lance and kill it in one round.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, let me fix this. Boom.
That's never
There
happened
we
in the
go.
history of TTRPGs. I cannot imagine spending hours on something that never gets seen. Yeah, never.
Okay.
Never. Alrighty, let's have a look at your feats, shall we?
Yeah.
Monstrous feats, part 1. Sometimes a chance encounter with a supernatural creature can leave more than an emotional mark on an adventurer. And sometimes, heroes are born with a bit of monster in them. Ooh, I like that. Regardless of the circumstances that led to your altered form, these feats are intended to let your character feel a bit more monstrous. Unnatural weapons! Part of your body shifts into an unnatural melee weapon you can use and are considered proficient with, such as claws, mandibles, or spines. When you hit with them, the attack deals 1d8 plus your strength modifier or dexterity modifier, bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. You decide when you take the feat. If you already have natural weapons when you take this feat, you gain a +1 to attack and damage rolls with them. That's pretty good. And you gain a +1 to your strength, dexterity, or constitution.
I believe I made this before unarmed fighting style was a thing.
Right, yeah.
Because I think this kind of unarmed fighting style kind of makes this redundant.
Syntax wise, you gain +1 to your strength, dexterity, and constitution should be first. Like when.
For sure.
Whenever half feats come, the addition goes at the start. But yeah, it's basically an unarmed. It's a feat that gives you unarmed fighting, which is like a fighting style. But it's also a feat that anybody could take, and not somebody who has the fighting style like rangers, paladins, and fighters. So a monk could take this, or a warlock could take this, or whatever. I can imagine a wizard. I can imagine a wizard with this to be like, "You think I'm a squishy wizard that's gonna run away if you get into melee with me? No, I'm gonna slash your face with my claws." Definitely balanced. It's it definitely feels like it's enough as a I know, I realize what I've done now. Sorry guys. Screen view.
What have you done?
The screen view is displaying weirdly because I clicked on it and then shifted things. There we go. Sorry, fixed it. Yeah, it's kind of redundant now, but was a good feat while it lasted, I suppose. And I'd probably rather take this than the unarmed fighting anyway, just because that unarmed fighting style kind of pisses me off. It kind of pisses me off that they're like, oh, as a fighter, you can choose to be better than a monk. Here's a fighting style you can take that just makes monk redundant.
Yeah.
And while you're grappling, you can just straight up deal more damage to them and stuff as a bonus.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a thing. You want to look at any more? I have a spider one. One called the Night Stalker that I don't remember what it is.
I liked the addition as well, better than the unarmed fighting. The +1 to attack and damage if you already have unarmed claws makes it like still worth taking.
Yeah. Do you have any, Rob? Two things. No. One, thanks you, Death and Feppy for the subs. But do you have a random noun by chance?
A random noun? I can give you a random noun if you want. Happiness.
Happiness is your random noun.
Sure.
Somebody asked for a random noun.
Cool. There you go. That would be really nice to a druid to have a +1 to your wild shape claws. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, you could take the natural weapons. All right, arachnoid. What we got? The body gains spider-like features. You gain a climb speed equal to your walking speed. You can climb difficult surfaces, including upside down on ceilings, without needing to make an ability check. While in contact with the web, you know the exact locations. You get the web walking things, and then you learn the spells web and inflict wounds. Ooh, inflict wounds is a bit of an out there one. You can cast each of these spells without expending a spell slot. When you cast each of these in way, blah blah blah, long rest.
Yeah, it's just a spell casting thing.
Inflict wounds surprised me there, but everything else seemed like, yeah, this is cool.
Inflict wounds was what I thought was the closest first level spell to a spider bite.
Yeah, spider bite, right?
It's all right.
If I was doing that, I wouldn't have used inflict wounds. I would have just given it a spider bite, like mandible bite attack, to be like, you can make a bite with your mandible. Because if it is a spider bite, then you're saying you can only do it once a long rest. Like you can bite somebody once a day. And,
that's true.
I probably would have gone. You learn the spell web for sure. You get the web walking thing.
I also think this is also made redundant now by the whatchamahoo's the Dampier. This is just a Dampier.
Climb upside down, yeah. Although, the Dampier doesn't have the web walking and the web spell though, so it is thematically different and has some difference in its mechanics too.
True.
let's shift this along here so I can see ooze form. We're going to jump down to ooze form just because of the way that I've done my screen. Your body becomes amorphous, allowing you to bend and move in strange new ways. You can move through a space as narrow as an inch without squeezing. You gain immunity to the prone condition, and if you are grappled or restrained, you can automatically break free by expending 5 feet of movement. I like that. Nice and simple and easy. Again, another one that's made redundant by a race. If you wanted this, you could just become a plasmoid.
Yep, you could just be a plasmoid now.
Pretty much all of these things, except immunity to the prone condition. Do you know that? I'm playing a plasmoid in the GaryCon game at the moment, Planescape. And he knocked me prone the other day, and I was like, I mean, surely I can't be prone. And I looked at it, and I was like, no, it doesn't say that. I'm an amorphous blob that has no way up, or no head, no legs, but for some reason I can be prone.
You can be prone. You can be prone.
I just kind of had to mechanically just kind of theme it in my head. I fell off of a roof to become prone, and so I was like, oh, I just kind of splattered a bit too far, and so me getting up from prone was me having to like zoop myself back into one shape like a Terminator 2. And that's what took up half my movement. And like, yeah,
that works. That works.
Sense. All right, I love it. I'm going to check your other ones. When did you make all of these, by the way? How long ago was all of these?
Probably like in the past 2 or 3 years.
Nice. Prowler. Your body shifts into that of a primal hunter. Without reading it, I'm thinking this is probably made redundant by the shifter class.
Maybe.
Race
yeah, no. Yeah. You know what? Actually, these ones might be older than that because I had to like hunt through. Like, look at the font. I don't know. This is old. I can see from it that it's like I was doing weird stuff with color and the font.
Yeah, the color of the writing is not so easiest.
Yeah.
You can take the dash or hide as a bonus action. It's not bad. You have advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on smell. Interesting. And you have advantage on a melee. When you have advantage on a melee attack roll and hit, it must succeed in a strength save or be knocked prone. So it's like the wolf feature essentially. Is this powerful enough?
Wolf.
When you hit, when you hit, and you can force them to succeed or not prone on every hit, which is pretty good. So that is pretty powerful. Advantage on smell checks is kind of cool flavor, but never comes up in reality. Dashing and hiding as a bonus action is pretty useful if you're not a rogue or a monk.
Yeah.
I'd say that is a feat. Yeah. I was just wondering if it's a half feat, but no, I think it is power with because it's like if you were to have limited the knocking them prone to like a number of times a day, a proficiency times a day or whatever, then I'd say maybe make it a half feat. But yeah. It's pretty strong to be able to like every single time you hit, you can just try and knock somebody prone because that's a monk feature right there. Prowler wouldn't be worth taking if you were an open hand monk because you can already dash and hide. Hide? I don't think you can hide. I think you can dash as a bonus with your key points, and you can knock somebody prone whenever you hit them with an attack as an open hand monk anyway. And finally, we've got Night Stalker. The darkness of the night sky becomes your second home. You gain blind sight with a range of 15 feet. That's very good, very useful. You have advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on hearing. Very good. And when you fall and aren't incapacitated, you can subtract up to 100 feet from the fall when calculating falling damage. And when you fall more than 10 feet, you can move up to 2 feet horizontally for every... so you're gliding. You're a glider.
Yeah. You're like a bat.
I'd say that last one doesn't seem to fit with the flavor text that you've given it. Like the darkness of the night sky doesn't say anything about you being like a glider or night. It's not even called like night glider or something. It's the night stalker, and so it's like being able to subtract and glide and whatever. That's it just needed a little more in the flavor text to explain what that is because it kind of came out of left field for me. But yeah, I love it. Subtract up to 100 feet is very powerful because you just don't.
It's basically you don't take fall damage.
You pretty much never take fall damage, which is like having a permanent ring of Featherfall on. So I guess you'd look at the rarity of Featherfall rings and be like, I'm basically giving them that for free. Plus, they can move. When you fall more than 10 feet, you can jump up to.
You can glide. You get little glides.
Because there was a problem with that they didn't think about, and then they had to retcon, didn't they? It was the monkey glider things. That was you can jump 5 feet and then glide 10.
Yeah. I think that might have been why I put the 10 foot.
Why you put 10 foot? Yeah.
As like a way of preventing people from just like hopping forever, but I don't remember.
Because you can jump. Rules is written. You can jump up to. You can vertical jump. 3 plus your strength modifier.
Yeah.
So even if you had a 20 strength, you can jump 8 feet high, which means you ain't jumping 10 feet to then do the glide bullshit. Yeah,
Gotta
cool.
love the glide bullshit.
Yeah, I love
So
it.
those are some feats that I made a little while ago. I'll be honest though, I haven't made feats in a long time.
What is your bread and butter? What do you like to make?
My favorite things to make these days are probably monsters or subclasses. Or I tried to make a subclass in 100 words the other day.
Oh shit! 100-word subclass, and you're
yeah. Do you want to see? I could show you. Yeah, I think so. I'm actually going to do a stream. It's either tomorrow or Wednesday. My stream is I'm trying to make a 100-word subclass for every class.
Oh shit, dude, that's cool. What one did you start with?
I started with the barbarian, obviously.
Nice, of course. That's your favorite class, right?
Do you want to see it?
I do, yeah. Do you want to go back and forth? Do you want to like? I just went your feats. Do you want to look?
Yeah,
at
I also want to know if you want to.
I
also could show you something. We could talk monsters too. You want to
do some monsters? We could do monsters, yeah. I want to show you some of my my items because I'm pretty proud of some of them.
Yeah, please.
Have a look at. Did I send you items? Let's have a look. I don't think I did. Copy and send you some items. Oh, I did send you items. Click on that link that I sent you, and then you tell me which items catch your eye from the contents page because I've got a lot of them. I've got
where are you? Where did you send them?
To the Discord.
Oh,
right
I see.
Above when you sent yours. Some of them were quite funny, just like play on words essentially. A bunch of options for the bag of holding. So whenever a player goes into a magic shop in my world and wants to buy a bag of holding, they usually come out with a rack full of like different bags that are all different prices and things. And there's a bag of holding, a bag of clothing, a bag of solding, a bag of withholding, and then 2 different types of bags of holding in my games as well.
Oh man.
I fixed up the bag of beans. I didn't really like the table of.
I want to look at your bag of. I want to look at some of your bag of better beans.
Bag of better beans, yeah, sure. There's
a lot of things.
So what I didn't like about the bag of beans was that some of the things didn't feel like anything to do with planting a bean. Like I wanted all of them to be like plant based of some kind. And so I did a stream where we worked on my bag of beans essentially. So the best way to go through this is just like I'll roll a percentile and we'll just use some of them rather than going through every single one. That'd be boring.
Sure.
If people want this, by the way, to plug my stuff, all the things I have homebrewed are behind the paywall of my my Patreon. If you plant a bean. And then and also the beans, now instead of just exploding for force damage, each bean does 5d4 random damage. So if you throw like a whole bag of beans at someone, then you roll 5d4 however many beans times. If you throw 20 beans at somebody, you get 20 times 5d4, and they're all different random types of damage, which is pretty fun. Alright, if you were to roll a 46 after planting a bean, a fruit tree grows over the next hour. It has 1d10 plus 20 fruit on it, many of which act as randomly determined magic potions, 1d8 common potions, 1d6 uncommon potions, 1d4 rare potions. One of the fruits acts as an ingested poison of the GM's choice. Fruit retains any magic for 30 days, which I think I just lifted straight from the actual bag of beans table.
Maybe. Here, roll again.
94. 94. Nothing seems to happen. However, an invisible plant creature known as a beanstalker grows. Use the statistics of an invisible stalker except that the creature is a plant and is tangible. The beanstalker will attempt to steal the remainder of the bag of beans at the earliest opportunity. If caught or discovered, it attacks. So I kind of took that from the bag of beans, which says I think it says something like an invisible stalker comes and tries to kill you, and I was like, why is an air elemental having anything to do with the beans? So I made him an invisible plant creature that's like, give me those beans!
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, we got 25. If you plant and get a 25, an animate, immobile, wooden statue in your likeness. Again, another bag of beans thing was like it grows a stone statue, and I was like, stone doesn't make sense, let's make it wood. Wooden statue in your likeness grows from the ground. It makes verbal threats against you, and if you leave it and others come near, it describes you as the most heinous of villains and directs the newcomers to find and attack you. If you're on the same plane of existence, it knows where you are, and it becomes inanimate after 24 hours.
Ooh, that's fun.
If you get a 2, then 5d4 toadstools sprout, and if you eat one of them, you must succeed in a con save or take a bunch of damage. So it just gives you a whole bunch of 5d4 worth of ingestible poisons, which is very powerful, given how shitty poisons are in D&D. They're like so expensive to buy a vial of poison, and it's like 2d6 damage.
They are. I feel like it's because. I almost feel like it's because it's from like a misunderstood. It's like early D&D design. You know what I mean? Like there's some stuff that just doesn't work because they didn't really know, like what the game would be. Like there's some spells and subclass like I don't know like I feel like if D&D was designed right now,
yeah,
the Necromancer would be completely different.
Right, yeah, 100%.
I mean, that's basically what they did with the Beastmaster.
Yeah, they came out with stuff being like, is this going to be something that people will want to play? Is this an option? And then people will be like, no. And then you're like, okay, how do we make it something that people want to play? And they fixed it up and went kind of the other way with it. And that went a little bit too powerful, in my opinion, that revised Beastmaster class.
You think they went overboard?
Yeah, I don't really remember it now. It's been so long since I looked at the revised Beastmaster, but yeah, I remember it being like, whoa, this is a bit much. What else we got? A giant beanstalk sprouts, growing to the height of the GM's choice, blah, blah, blah. A medium bellflower grows, filled with enough nectar for 1d4 creatures to drink it. If consumed, the creature gains a temporary increase to its strength score of 4 for 1 minute. After that minute, the creature gains a point of exhaustion. The flower in the nectar loses magical potency after 24 hours. So there's some things in here that are just like straight up on the bean table, and then other things that are like, ooh.
Yeah, I like the drive to make them all bean related. I'm sort of eyeing some of the bags. What is the bag of withholding?
Bag of withholding has the same statistics as a bag of holding with the following changes. It resists all attempts to reveal its contents. It requires attunement, unlike a bag of holding. And the contents stay in the bag even if turned inside out, and only the attuned creature can retrieve anything in the bag. It withholds all information as to what is in it, so you cannot. So basically, it's a more secure bag of holding, where you can keep whatever you want inside of it, and you can't just be like, oh, I just found a bag of holding. What's inside it? Turn it inside out and find out.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, bag of solding was a fun one for me. It was like for the adventurer on the go that never stops to sell all of the stuff. It was for the player that likes.
I'm so dumb.
It was for the player that likes to loot at every opportunity, and then doesn't want inventory management with it. And so any object placed in the bag will disappear at dawn on the following day, being replaced by a number of coins equal to approximately a third of the item's worth. So if you kill a goblin and you take his rusty sword, chuck the sword in the bag, and you get a bit of money the next day. And the fun thing about that one, nobody's ever actually used one in one of my games yet, but I do have some lore as to what's happening with that bag and where it's going. It's basically it's a two-directional portal from the bag to a junkyard out in the middle of like a huge country somewhere in my world, where there's just like this massive junkyard, and all of the bags of solding all just come to this junkyard, and then there are literally workers that are like goblin-like people that pull stuff out of their things, and they analyze it, and they go, yeah, it's worth this amount, and they'll chuck it in. They'll chuck it in for scrap, and they'll put the money in, and they'll just be like, yeah, I'll give him 7 copper for that, and
that's awesome.
they're sorting through stuff, and that's like the economy of that entire country, which is very fun.
Oh my god. That's amazing. I like that so much.
One I'm pretty.
It's so fun when you can like build world around that kind of stuff.
Around a silly little item that you've come up with, and suddenly
yeah.
you're making like an entire lore around it. Yeah. One that I was quite proud of is the Binding of the Hunter that I've used a few times in my games. People do tend to like this one. This roll of binding, resembling a roll of gauze bandage, is woven with transmutation magic. It's 25 feet long and can be wound around a corpse or similar remains. Doing so takes 1 minute for a medium corpse, 5 for a large, or 10 for a huge. Applying it for to a corpse larger than huge requires more than one roll and takes 10 minutes per roll. At the completion of applying the bandage, the corpse is reduced, as per the reduced spell, by 2 size categories. A binding has no effect on a corpse that has already been bound in this way, and once a corpse has been reduced, it remains reduced for 10 days or until the binding is removed. At that time, the binding loses its magic. So it is very useful for utility things. It's designed in game. The sort of lore around this item is that a bunch of hunters and rangers made it for like, oh, I go out and I kill a deer, and then I can bind it and sling it over my shoulder, and it's now the size of a cat. I walk back to the village, and then suddenly it's back. But one of the most utility ways to actually use it as an adventuring party, and it has been used in this way in a couple of my games, is when one of your party members is dead, and you're like, oh fuck, he just died, and we're in the middle of a forest. We need to get all the way back to the village to the healer or the cleric or whatever. Then they bind him up. They've now got a mini version of their party member that they can chuck in their pocket. And then
that's so funny. I could see a necromancer keeping like a bandolier of zombies.
Yeah, he's just got a bunch of them all bound up, and he's like, right, go my pretty, and he just
popping them out.
He just grabs the end of the bandage and he just like flings it, and it unrolls and flies out.
Yeah,
I've not thought of that. That's pretty cool. Useful for hiding your victims temporarily. Yeah, that's a fun one. Anyway.
I really like magic items like this, where they do something that is not just. I talk about this on my stream a lot. I'm a big fan of things that don't just do numbers go up.
Yes, yeah. I give my characters a compass of retracing at one point where they were going into the Underdark, and so it's basically a compass that if you activate it, it marks down exactly the path that you've taken, and then if you reactivate it, it then shows you the path that you take, like points in the direction you were going, so you can find your way out of mazes and things. But the problem is, if you ever go through a portal, it just points back to the portal, and then it's like, I don't know. I don't know where this portal. I don't know where you came from. Don't know where you came from to get here. I've gotten you back to where you came in, which is great if it's a two-way portal, but if it's a one-way portal, you're fucked.
Yeah, that's very funny.
Lots of fun little ones, like a dagger of fencing, which is a dagger that you can use a charge to make it into a rapier.
I like that. I like a good little transforming stuff.
Distraction doll is quite a fun one. That's just a common item. It's a wooden marionette puppet. You activate it and it just walks forward making noises and stuff. So it's like you put it down and just like set it go, and then a bunch of the guards will be like, "What the hell?"
Mm-hmm. Okay,
It walks indefinitely in the directions that you designated, not changing altitude or direction. Held aloft by its strings. The doll has an armor class and one single hit point. So the guards.
I like it. Yeah. That's very fun.
Others that I've used as loot a few times in my games are dolls of resizing. They're nesting dolls, like Russian nesting dolls. But they're a whole set of them, and if you smash if you smash one of them in your hand, you grow to gargantuan size. If you smash the tiniest one, you shrink down to teeny size, the trivial size. That's
really fun.
And like each one is related to one of the size categories. And you can smash one as an action to become that size for. I think it's related to. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, the gargantuan you stay as for 1d4 rounds. If you shrink down to trivial size, you'll stay as that size for 1d4 hours. Yeah,
what is trivial size?
Oh yeah, that's a homebrewed category, basically smaller than tiny. Because I look at tiny,
like
which
the size
is
of like a grain of rice. Is that like you're like a mouse?
Trivial is like for bugs and mice, spiders and things like that. That's trivial, and then like tiny is like the size of a house cat.
Yeah.
Like, I just felt like that I needed something that's even smaller than tiny.
Why did you go with the name trivial and not the name itty bitty?
Because if you look at gargantuan, huge, large, medium, small, tiny, it is in reverse. It is in alphabetical order. So if you're going from large to small, it's already written in alphabetical order. So I was like, I need to carry that on. And so I had to go with something more than tiny. And then on the other side of things, if you go larger than gargantuan in my world, it becomes colossal, and then larger than that is behemoth. So it remains in alphabetical order.
Is that to keep it in order?
Yeah.
You're such a charmer.
This is something. This is. I think you were in my stream the other day when I mentioned that, because I was like, "Oh, tell you what, something fun."
Was, but I didn't know what you were talking about.
I was like, "Tell you something fun. It's reverse alphabetical order," and you're like, "When I think of fun, I think of reverse alphabetical order."
Yeah. These are great, dude. These are great. You're so much more organized than I am with my homebrew. Mine is just scrabbled all over the place. Here, let me show you one of mine. Do you want to see a key or a lantern?
See some of yours now.
Or both?
Oh, I want to see a key.
All right, let me send you this key. Tell me if this link works. It might not. Tell me if it does. Does that link work?
Link. I'm seeing the image of the key.
Okay, yeah, cool.
So I can see it.
Okay, is
now
that work for your stream or no?
I can make that work for my stream. Yeah, here we go. Boop, 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 boop. All right, we are looking at a spell pass Anoma key.
The name came from on stream. Somebody wanted me to combine the words. I think it was like pass card, anomaly, and key or something. I don't remember, but it was the name is an amalgamation of stuff that people were suggesting on stream.
It's an anomaly. I love it. I love the illustration. Is this one of yours, or is that somebody?
Yeah. This is one of mine. One of my little doodles.
You're a doodler as well, are you? Nice.
I have art for all my monsters. We'll get to that when we get to it.
Nice. This key is forged from alien materials from the far realm. It is uncomfortable to hold and behold. It has 3 charges. You can expend charges to create one of the following effects. Let me zoom it in on my screen a little bit so that people can see it better. We want people to be able to see it better.
Boo!
Boo! You don't need to see things.
Vision is for the birds. Tremor sense, baby!
I've given my dwarves tremor sense. I was re-homebrewing my dwarves recently, and I decided that it made sense that they needed tremor sense.
Were you the person that I was talking to about having dwarves sort of be more almost like earth elementals? Where they
that is something I've done.
The stone.
Yeah, basically, if you had a sliding scale from earth elemental down one end to human up the other end, then it goes human, and then dwarves, and then earth genasi, and then elementals. Like they are right on they're in my world. Dwarves are like right on the edge of what you'd consider a humanoid instead of an elemental.
I like that.
I went through a whole thing in my Legend Keeper document about like their reproduction and stuff. Like they're basically laid as like a rock egg, and then you put them into a pit in the ground, and then they soften up over time and turn into a dwarf. But if you don't break the pit open and start feeding them milk after a while and start turning them more humanoid because of that, then they turn into a galabdur instead.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Those are fun monsters.
Yeah, I like them. So you can expend
roll around.
You can expend one of the 3 charges of the key to create one of the following effects. For 1 charge, you can cast the spell Knock. Makes sense. I like that. However, the noise is that of wailing. Oh, jeez. 1 charge to when a creature casts a teleportation spell within 5 feet of you, such as Dimension Door or Misty Step. As a reaction, you can expend a charge and follow the creature to their destination. I like that. You appear in the nearest space within 5 feet. Yeah, I like that a lot. Like you're unlocking the same teleportation. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
And you can expend 2 charges as an action. You can hold the key up to a magical and or interplanar boundary created by a spell, such as Wall of Force, Tiny Hut, Rope Trick, Magnificent Mansion, etc., attempting to open up a doorway to the other side of it. Make an Arcana check with DC equal to 10 plus the levels of the spell. On a success, the door opens and lasts for 1 minute or until you close it. On a failure, you are banished to the Far Realms for 1 round, and you take psychic damage. Ooh, that's a good little something that happens on failure. When a humanoid,
because it's supposed to be an evil key.
Yeah, it's an evil key of aliens. When a humanoid with intelligence 5 or higher takes a long rest with the key on the person, they dream of a door of fractaling flesh and eyes and teeth. If they choose to open the door in the dream, they take psychic damage upon waking, and the key regains all charges. Oh, nice. So because I just assumed that it was recharging at dawn, but no, it only recharges if you choose to take the psychic damage to recharge.
If you choose to open the door.
That's cool. Oh, I like this.
So that's that.
This is super cool.
Yeah, I like that one. It's a pretty cool one. And then let me show you another one. I'll show you my lantern.
Lantern of Revealing.
It's sort of the Lantern of Revealing.
There we go.
It's called I call it the Warden's Lantern.
The Warden's Lantern.
I was doing this thing for a while where I was like, what if I make every piece of homebrew kind of look different? So what if I was like, do this art and style for all my items, and then I gave up on it after 2. So I have 2 items that I've made like this.
Mate, Sounds much like me. I have these cool ideas, and I'm like, oh, I should do this thing, and this would be a whole cool series of things that I could do with it. And then I do like 2 or 3 of them, and I'm like, this is tiring and time-consuming.
People don't seem to care.
People don't seem to care immediately. So
People are much more fascinated when I spend 3 seconds on a dumb idea. So let's just do that instead.
The world we're in does not seem to incentivize putting a lot of effort into stuff anymore.
I mean, dude, we were talking about this off stream. I was telling you, like, the best way to make shorts is to make them a little dumber than you think they need to be, a little louder than you think they need to be, and a little faster than you think they need to be.
Yeah, just be like, get to the point, say the thing, don't put any effort in. Do it with your phone. Hold your phone up and record it. If it's shaky, it's fine.
Literally, that is how I do my videos. Like, we're gonna talk off stream, but I'm gonna show you my system.
All right, the Warden's Lantern. Rare item requires attunement. Art by CinderBlocksally. The Warden's Lantern is often carried by those that guard the fringes of society, where the barriers between realms is thinnest, and strange creatures pierce through the veil.
I appreciate you pronouncing that correctly.
Oh shit! What have I done? There we go. Fix it. Fixed. No problems. Never happened. The lantern glows with magical light. It requires no fuel. When certain types of creatures are within 60 feet of the lantern, its flame flickers with different colors, as indicated in the table below. If an aberration's within range, it's purple, celestial silver, elemental blue, fey green, fiend red. Any reason for the choice of colors? You just like, each one needs a color?
As a colorblind person,
I
thought that those colors, aside from the elemental one, I thought that those colors fit the vibe. And then for the elemental one, I just picked blue because that was another bright color that wasn't yellow or orange.
Yeah. Nice. You'd pretty much gone through the color wheel and was like, well, I'm out of options. Blue it is. Additionally, when a creature you can see within 60 feet of you hits an aberration, celestial, elemental, fiend, or fey creature with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to cause that attack to deal an extra d8 force damage to the target. Ooh, a reaction on an attack. That's interesting. This extra damage ignores resistance and immunities, which, I mean, isn't going to come up all often because it's force damage. That much, but... I think the only thing that is immune to force damage is there's nothing resistant to force damage, and the only thing that's immune is the Helmed Horror. Or is the Marut also?
Helmed Horror. I don't know if the Marut is also, but
Helmed Horror is immune to force damage, but it is a construct, which is none of the things on your list. So the only thing that has an immunity or resistance to force damage isn't one of the things you can hit with it. So the entire last sentence is redundant.
Well, unless the monster took 3 levels of battle of barbarian, and they took totem barbarian.
Totem barbarian isn't. Oh no, it's not even. Oh yeah, totem barbarians are resistant to force damage, which is weird.
All damage but psychic, baby.
That is weird. Force damage? Straight up magic damage.
Oh, listen, man. That's what it says.
That's what it is, yeah. Or, what's the other thing? The Brooch of Shielding, doesn't that make you
Brooch of
Shielding?
Damage? Yep. Also, there's some dragons. The Amethyst Dragon, apparently.
Right,
GM Workshop tells us the Amethyst Dragon. Anyway, these are 2 magic items.
I like it. I like this Warden's Lantern. I reckon Apis in my Twitch Tales, the main character in my interactive D&D game that I run, is a Horizon Walker Ranger, and the whole sort of story around them is that they are like a warden of the plains, like keeping things in the right places and stuff. And right now they're in the middle of an arc where they're fighting demons and stuff and trying to close a demon portal. I reckon Apis could do the Warden's Lantern.
In a game that I was running for a while that was not an Icewind Dale game, but was inspired by that theme, I was sort of doing like Oregon Trail meets the Eldridge Arctic. So there was like a big caravan the adventurers were a part of, and there were monsters attacking, and maybe some of the people were monsters, and it was, the team was getting smaller. Everybody, NPCs were dying basically every session. And eventually they met this group of undead that were like good guy undead. I think they called themselves the Lantern Keepers, but they basically were undead creatures that had their hearts removed and these lanterns put in their chest. and
Oh.
they basically just wandered around, fucking up monsters and like trying to help people
Yeah.
travel through. But when one died, you could take the lantern out of its chest and like have it as an item.
Nice. The thing that you
They were
could
cool.
like, if this was too much, or like you gave it to a character and there was like, I'm kind of regretting this because they're getting a D8 extra on everything, and I'm not able to sneak up on them with any aberration or fey or elemental anymore, and all of this.
Mhm.
Like, if you wanted to limit it, then you could just make it that it just take out that it requires no fuel, and you could just be like,
Yeah.
use it as much as you want, but you are going to have to keep fueling it with lantern oil. They are going to have to keep topping it up.
Another way that it could work, I think that might make it interesting, is if you had to like set it on the ground and activate it, and it created a bubble, and within that bubble, these effects took place, but it was like a process.
Yeah, you had to actually put an effort into it rather than being a passive thing of like, oh shit, my lantern's purple.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like it. I can definitely imagine stealing that and giving it to Apis, or giving it to one of the NPCs in the game or something.
Steal away.
Let's see some monsters. Let's come back to mine and let's find some monsters. I'm gonna go down to stat blocks and I'm gonna send you the link to the stat blocks that I've got. And let's go to Discord here and let's send you the stat block link to my home brewery. And then let's.
Man, I'm so dumb for not doing my homebrew like this. I just have random fucking Google Docs.
It's just all over the place. My notes are very much like that. My homebrew is all in Homebrewery, thankfully, but my notes are in like 7 different places. I'm in the process at the moment, the very long process of changing everything over from World Anvil to Legend Keeper.
I don't even know what Legend Keeper is.
Do you know World Anvil? Do you know Campfire?
It's like Wikipedia. It's Wikipedia for your D&D game.
Yeah,
right?
It's that. It's just another one of those. But I just find Legend Keeper much easier to use than World Anvil.
It's better?
Yeah, in my opinion. World Anvil's getting better. They are, and the people who make, and the awkward thing is, the founders of World Anvil, Janet and Dimitri, are like friends of mine. And I want to like their product a lot. I just don't like it. It's not very in my opinion, it's not very good on its user interface, like its usability.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to be like a what you see is what you get text editor, but it just confuses me because it's not that, and it doesn't work how I Fancy says it doesn't work in the way that I think, and so I don't find it intuitive. I'm like this isn't working for me. Whereas Legend Keeper does work in the way that I think, and I'm like yes please let's do this.
Your mod is coming in with insightful information, being like, it doesn't actually work how you think. My mod is coming in and saying, what's Wikipedia?
So it's like an encyclopedia, but it's wiki. It's just a wiki version. Wiki.
Notion. Yeah, I have a couple people in my community that really like using Notion for all their stuff.
I've not even heard of that one.
Notion is like a organizing thing. I think it's used for like presentations, and everyone that I know that uses Notion like comes from a world of being like a software engineer or a programmer. So it probably is better than a lot of things and very powerful.
Oh yeah, like if you knew HTML and stuff, then World Anvil would be fantastic. They've got fantastic prompts in there. Like it can look amazing if you know what you're doing with it. That you can make some incredible documents and stuff for your for your homebrew, your world building. But I just don't know anything about the HTML code and like the breaks and stuff and the commands with the triangle brackets and stuff. I don't know any of that shit, so I don't know how to use it all.
I learned enough of it to write stuff in Homebrewery, and that's how much it's
Right, yeah, same. Yeah. All right, have a look at my stat block and look at the contents and tell me what one catch your eye.
Point me in a direction.
Hourglass Coven. I'm real proud of those. Let's look at the Hourglass Coven.
The Hourglass Coven.
Do you know the Hourglass Coven? They're a hag coven from the Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign.
There's some witchy people.
Witchy hag coven, yes. So they're called the Hourglass Coven because they are all about time. So there is one that's the hag of the past, one is hag of the future, one is hag of the present. Kind of like the muses in ancient Greek. Not the muses, sorry. The whatever the fuck they're called in ancient Greek. The ones that share the eyeball. No?
The fates.
Fates, not the muses. Yes, the fates. Kind of like that. The Hourglass Governor, past, present, and future. But like with all things D&D 5e, when they came out with the stat blocks. So here's the story. Wild Beyond the Witchlight, Wizard of the Coast, got in touch with Viva la Dirt League and me and said, we're coming out with Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Would you sponsor it? Would you do an element of your campaign that is like Wild Beyond the Witchlight? And I said, sure. I'll take elements from Wild Beyond the Witchlight and chuck it at my players. Have you got any stat blocks for me? And they said no. I said, have you got any artwork for me? They said no. I said, have you got a storyline for me? They said no. I said, what the fuck do you want me to include? And they said, here, just include these things. So I had to come up with my own stat block for the hags of the past, present, and future. And after I did so, they then came out with Wild Beyond the Witchlight and the stat blocks and stuff. So then I looked at the stat blocks that are given, and I was like, these are boring as shit, and they don't do anything. There's nothing like past, present, or future about these hags, so I'm just going to use mine. So you tell me, is it something fun?
All right, let's take a look.
So we've got Bavlorna Blightstraw. She's the hag of the present. And one of the fun things about role-playing her is I tried to only ever speak in present tense. And likewise for the hag of the past, I tried to only ever speak in past tense, and the hag of the future only ever speak in future tense. And it's very difficult to do so, but I did manage for the most part.
That is very difficult to do. People in my chat, all of these are available in Rob's Patreon.
Yeah, check out my Patreon.
So if you are interested in seeing, if you want copies of these, go check out Rob's Patreon.
You put your you got a Patreon? You put your homebrew on there?
Yeah, I don't make homebrew that much though, so I don't promote it as like a thing. I feel like it would be kind of like misleading to be like, do my Patreon and you get my homebrew, because there's there's some on there, but I'm not putting it out super often.
Yeah, like I'm not making stuff every week to put on my homebrew on my Patreon. That's not the purpose of my Patreon. My Patreon's like, you get my videos, you get my my monthly check-in that I do like just for my Patreon streams. You get first access to all of my in-person games that are ticketed events, sort of things. So there's a whole bunch of like perks on my Patreon, and one of them's just like, you also get my homebrew whenever I make it.
Yeah. It's exactly. And I don't update it almost ever with the homebrew stuff. Yeah, my Patreon is only for people that want to foster a parasocial relationship.
Yeah. Come and join my Patreon. I'll send you a
the
message.
best way. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Give me money and we are friends. That's how it works. Duh. Everybody knows it.
So Bavlorna Blightstraw, medium hag, blah blah blah. You'll notice first thing is my hit points. I use a range of hit points in my stat blocks. I take what is in the brackets, what could be rolled. I take what's the minimum that I could roll on that, and then the maximum that I could roll on that, and then the average.
Oh, interesting.
For some reason, 69 isn't the minimum of that, so I've obviously changed something without changing the other thing. But anyway,
that's okay.
I muck around with this and that and the other, and then I come up with a range for it. And how that works in reality is like, it doesn't mean that your numbers don't mean anything anymore in the fight. Like, if you are doing big damaging spells, it's still gonna finish the fight faster. But it also means that if this is meant to be a big boss at the end of an encounter, and you breeze through it, I still have a little wiggle room to be like, okay, you've smashed all the way up to 69 hit points. She's in her damage range now. I'll usually indicate that to the players by saying, "Oh, she's starting to look bloodied. She's starting to look fucked up," which usually means like, "Hey, you've gotten her close to death." And then the next story sense attack on her, if it's your long lost father, you're battling him with a lightsaber and you've chopped your hand off and whatever, and you're finally going up against him, then I'm gonna wait until it's your turn, and then you'll get the killing blow, kind of thing. So I'll try and it gives me a little wiggle room by using a range of HP rather than like a set number. And if they get all the way up to the maximum of that HP, and I thought that this character was going to live and they're not, then oh well, the character dies because you got them all the way up to the max.
You see, this is why I like the way that you design, because I don't think in those sorts of systems at all. But I appreciate it so much. Like being like, here's a system that I'm going to apply logically to the way that I'm designing things, and that I can completely correlate to how I can use in my game. I definitely am just like, I think this thing needs a little bit more AC. Probably, right? Yeah.
Well, just feel it. Feel it out. one of the things people often say is like asking for specific advice about character creation or like encounter building or like balancing an encounter, and it's like so much of it is just you kind of feel it. You just kind of be like, I think this guy needs more AC, or like I think I need to give him more hit points on the fly and stuff like that. It is just coming down to the experience from running the game so many times. Let's look at her features because that's where she shines. She has some spellcasting, boring, nobody cares. She's got the Boon of Immortality. That's one of the things that was just because of the nature of her being
She's old,
one of the
but she
existing
keeps
characters.
staying the same age.
The Widdershins allergy, again, that's another thing that was just because of the character in the game. That's one thing they wanted to include. But one of the fun things that I did for all of these guys is that each of them has an attack, a bonus action, a reaction, and a legendary action that is related to past, present, or future, respectively. So her attack,
cool.
her present day attack is called Live in the Here and Now. She chooses a creature within 60 feet of her that must succeed in a charisma save or be teleported to her, adjacent to her. Live in the here and now. So they teleport. She teleports to them, and then she can make a claw attack against them. Her bonus action is Stay in the Present. Bavlon chooses a creature within 60 feet she can see. If they're unwilling, it must succeed in a wisdom save or have its movement drop to 0 until the end of their next turn. So they're immune to being knocked prone, pushed from their space, or teleported because she's fixing them in place. Reaction is, I'm thinking the same thing. She can immediately take the same action that she saw someone else use within 30 feet of her. She uses the exact same attack roll, damage roll, and all other rolls as if she had rolled them. And if it requires a target, she chooses the target. So she's
like that one a lot.
She's mimicking at the exact same moment, which came up to play real well against the Viva la Dirt League guys when they were fighting this lady, because one of them jumped into her and did like because he's kind of like, his whole thing is like exploding people from the inside out. So he jumped into her and did a bunch of sneak attack damage, and he like critted on it, and he was like, fuck yeah, crit sneak attack, and he was like super excited. And then I was like, amazing, how much damage did you do? 39? Great. She uses her reaction, and he goes, no! Because he suddenly remembered at that point what the reaction was. She uses her reaction to say, I'm thinking the same thing! And then she turns into him, she jumps into him, and explodes him for 39 sneak attack damage. And he was like, no! It was so good. And then, awesome. Oh no, I didn't give them a legendary action that was anything present related. It was just the action, bonus action, reaction. So she has present day related things. Scabatha's the hag of the past. So she had this old body isn't what it used to be. She de-ages herself, benefiting from the effect of a haste spell, but she can still only use one claw attack per turn. It lasts for 1d6 plus 1 rounds, and then she's incapacitated and must use her entire turn to wind herself back up again, because she's got like a massive key in her back. She's like a wooden doll. So she's got an action where she can basically cast haste on herself by winding up the key. Retrace, and then she's got another action, should have retraced your steps. She chooses up to 4 creatures within 60 feet of them that she can see. They must succeed in a save or be teleported back to her choice of location that they had occupied at some point since the end of the turn. So she's going back in time and being like, oh, since your last turn, you moved from over here to over there. Now you're going to come back over here because I want you next to me. Meanwhile, the barbarian who has now run over to me and is now in melee, you have to retrace your steps and go back to where you started. So she can manipulate the battlefield a little bit to like back to some moment in the recent past. Cool. Bonus actions to buff her allies. I designed her to have just a bunch of like toys and minions and stuff around her so she could buff them. It used to be so strapping. A creature of Scabatha's choice can add a d10 to any attack roll, saving throw, or ability check that uses strength. You used to be so sprightly. A creature of her choice can add a d10 to any dexterity. And you used to be so sharp. A creature of her choice can add a d10 to any attack roll using their mental stats. So she's looking into the past at how they used to be. And then her reaction was, I remembered things differently. She quickly rewrites the recent past, choosing to force you to reroll a dice.
I love these names.
She's pretty fun. Then they got to the Hag of the Future, and they never actually killed her. They made a deal with her instead, and she just left. And so I never got to use all of the Hag of the Future things, or at least not yet. But given that people on my Patreon can see them, I'll just it's not exactly spoiling things to show her off. She's the largest of the stat blocks because she was the most difficult. She was the one that came later, and they were leveling up between the hags, so she was always going to be the most difficult. But she has a feature that's just a passive feature called Future Use Problem. Anytime that Enderlin causes damage to a creature, she can choose to instead store that damage and deliver it and any other damage she has caused to that creature and deferred in this way at any point in the future, no action required. She must be conscious and on the same plane of existence to deliver the deferred damage.
Oh, wow.
So she can be hitting you and clawing you, and I'm rolling damage for it behind the screen. And instead of telling you what damage you're not taking any damage yet. And then I'll jot it down. You've taken 17 damage. And then the next time she hits you with a claw, she'll take another 14 damage. And then next time, and then once she's built it up, she can be like, and bam, you now take 63 points of damage all in one shot. Because that way the healers can't do shit to actually keep you alive during the fight.
Yeah.
Also, I have a house rule in my games called massive damage. If you ever take more than half your health in a single strike, it'll do extra effects like knock you prone and shit. And so she can trigger that with doing this as well. And
you could also like have her like go through a town and just stab everybody in the town,
and then
it's like cool. Do what I say.
Do what I say, or they all die immediately. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's some fun things there. She's also very in the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. She's also very much like theater themed. Her whole thing is like a marionette puppet. Like lives inside of her chest, and she lives in a theater and stuff. So I give her a feature called My Understudy Can Do Tonight. Once per day, a copy of Enderlin appears on the stage in an unoccupied space. She then projects herself into the future, reappearing in an unoccupied space of her choice within 30 feet of the understudy 1 minute later, or when her understudy dies or drops to 0. The copy uses the same statistics, blah blah blah. It can't use spells and things, so it's a little bit weaker. But they have to fight this understudy instead until eventually she pops back into the future.
That's very fun.
She's got a feature called Endless Possible Futures. Enderlin lays out all of her options, and through doing so, seems to split into countless versions of herself that act out all of the endless possibilities on her turn. Until the start of her next turn, it's impossible for any other creature to know where she is, as the other realities obfuscate which future she has chosen to make the present. If they attempt to take reactions to anything she does directly, there's only a 10% chance of it succeeding. So if she splits into all these futures and like moves out of your range with any of them, then you can take an attack of opportunity, but you might have chosen one that's not actually a real future. And then at the start of her next turn, after doing so, she hits somebody for extra damage because they didn't see it coming, kind of thing. Bonus action called I Will See That Coming. Enderlin chooses 1d4 creatures. Enderlin chooses 1d4 creatures she can see within 60 feet of her and glimpses the future of them. Enderlin gets to choose what action it takes on its next turn by choosing from the following list: attack, cast a spell, dash, disengage, dodge, blah blah blah. She cannot choose the same action again until she's chosen each of the options. So she can choose. So she can choose, like if she rolls a 4 and she goes, all right, sorcery, you're going to choose the cast a spell. You're going to choose the disengage action on your turn. Barbarian, you're going to choose the hide action on your turn, and they are forced to do that thing on their turn. But she can't do that every single round until she's gone through all of them. So she might go, sorcery, you're going to take the attack action, which means you have to bot me with a fucking quarterstaff. So she's going to be smart about that stuff.
That's cool.
This does not allow her to dictate the target or the direction or the bonus actions on their turns. If the creature attempts to take any other action on its next turn, they must succeed in a Wisdom saving throw, and if they succeed, they take psychic damage, but they can act as they wish. But if they fail, they take a little bit less psychic damage and must use the action that she predicted. So they still have a chance of being like, no, I'm going to try and act on my turn.
Yeah, I like that.
Dictating what I'm doing.
I was just thinking, the situation that you said, it would be very cool to be a sorcerer fighting her. Where she's like, you have to take the attack action, and you're like, cool, quicken spell, bonus action, still casting my spell.
Yeah, exactly.
Still casting my spell.
Which is why I made a point of specifying it doesn't dictate who you have to target with your attack action or your spell. It doesn't dictate what your bonus action is, so you can still, because I don't want to take away player agency entirely. I just want it to feel like you're fighting someone who understands the future and is like, oh, I've already seen the future, and you're going to take the attack action on your turn. And then if they don't, they have to fight against their own future, which is where the psychic damage comes from.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Reactions. That won't have happened yet. In reaction to taking damage from an attack or spell effect, she can defer the damage until the end of her next turn. She only takes that damage if the attacker and Enderlin are in the same relative positions as they were when the damage originally occurred, or Enderlin is still in the area of effect. So if somebody casts Fireball on her and she fails a save, instead of taking 28 fire damage, she can be like, reaction, that won't have happened yet. And then on her next turn, she can try and move out of the fireball's range, and then the fireball exploded, and she wasn't in the range of it, and so she can avoid taking a bunch of the damage. But obviously, it uses her reaction, so it's only once her turn. So she's a lot of fun, and thankfully for me, after making the deal with her and like not actually ever fighting her, they have since gone, we shouldn't have left her alive. We should probably track her down and kill her. And now they're tracking her down to kill her. So now I will actually get to use this stat block, which I'm very excited for. And that's the end of the understudy there.
That's going to be very cool.
Fun stuff. I also came up with stats for the Jabberwocky because that's that's referenced in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, but I wasn't excited by the stat block that was the
stat block for the Jabberwocky was just a dragon.
Yeah, right. Just so boring.
Laser,
everything in 5e is just boring, man.
There are nuggets of brilliance.
Yes,
and
every so often
latch on to them.
I like the Yeti. What I really like about the Yeti is the fire aversion. It doesn't give it fire vulnerability, which isn't just like, numbers go up. Instead, it's like, if it takes fire damage, it has disadvantage on this or that until the end of its next. Like other features that's like, you're still benefiting from using fire, it's just not doing extra damage.
Yeah, and I like when they allow themselves to get kind of extreme with their monster design, which I feel like Mordekainen's multiverse book kind of pulled back on. But like the what's it called? The Elder Tempest used to have an attack that had a range of 1 mile, for example.
Holy shit, that's cool.
Which I think is pretty cool. It's not that anymore. They changed it. But I really like monsters like the Skulk. Do you know the Skulk?
No.
It's a very low CR monster, but it is always invisible and it leaves no tracks. It's not a ghost though, it's physical. And the only way you can see it is in the light of a candle that is made from the fat of a unknown corpse, or from looking at through a silver mirror, or children under the age of 10 can see it.
Oh shit, that's cool.
And the idea
is this a 5e monster?
Yeah, and it's supposed to, I forget the lore exactly, but it's like summoned by someone and it kind of looks like the person who summoned it.
Ah, nice. I like that.
I think. Or it looks like the person that it's summoned to kill. It's got a weird thing with how it looks, but I just like when a monster has like a weird, like a game built into it.
Little gimmick or something. You can only see it during these very specific things. I love it when the Wizards of the Coast, the people who write the shit for the the blurb and the flavor text and stuff about monsters are not the same. It often feels like they're not even talking to the people who are making the stat block for the monster because if too often it says something really cool in the features of this thing. Oh, they can do this and they can do that and they're known for this. And then you look at the stat block and you're like, sometimes it's like not only have they not included any of that, they've included things that are exactly the opposite. Like, one thing that comes to mind was, like, the Hobgoblin... they came out with a whole bunch of other Hobgoblin stats, and one of them's like a Devastator, I think they're called. Hobgoblin Devastators that are all about magic, and it says they are trained from an early age to understand evocation to the extremes. They can all cast Fireball, and they can all do this, and they're basically brought in as the magic Hobgoblins but they don't know anything other than evocation, essentially. Just a shit ton of damage spells, lightning bolts and stuff. Then you look at the stat block and it's like they don't have Arcana proficiency. They don't have a decent spellcasting modifier. There's just stuff about it that I'm like, that's kind of disappointing. And that's just one example. Yeah. There's so many that are like, oh, that's the opposite of what you've said in the flavor text.
Yeah, the only way the new one has Arcana. They changed it.
Oh, it has? Maybe it's changed. Oh, no. Sorry, I think it was that. I think I'm misremembering. I think it's the fact that they have Arcana that pissed me off, because the stat block says they do not study magic. They get it naturally.
Oh, they just study.
I think it says in the stat block, it is hobgoblins that are naturally gifted with the ways of evocation, and then they study evocation only. And I think it says something in the bullshit text. It says something like, I'm trying to remember now. You're probably looking at it, but it says something like, they don't know much about magic, but what they do know is how to cause damage, or something like that. And I was like, they don't know much about magic, and then they're proficient in Arcana.
Yeah, it talks about their training lacks the theory and context that other folks study. They just skilled them in battle and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, it bothered me, and that's just one small example. But there's plenty.
Somebody in my chat just said, You get a monster with a really cool flavor text, really cool art. You look at the stat block, 2 slam attacks.
Yeah, it's a second hit points with a claw attack, and that's all it's got.
Yeah.
I want to look at some of your monsters, but I want to just pay a, what do they call it, a notable notation of one monster that I was super proud of. It's called an earworm.
Please.
It's called an earworm, and it's a fey dragon essentially that doesn't have any attacks. It just has singing effects. So when they're babies, it's kind of got that wormling transition through to like the fey dragons do, the fairy dragons. But when they're wormlings, they've only got 2 effects that they can do with their songs, and that's charm or fear. Like make somebody an ally of them, or make somebody run away, because that's all that they need when they're a wormling. It's like, get away from me or help me. When they get to young stage, they can charm and they can fear, but they can also now sing a different song that lullabies you to sleep or weakens you. Then when they become an adult, now they can start biting you as well, but most of the time they're just going to be singing. They can charm, they can fear, they can sleep, and they can weaken as before, but now they've also can confuse you or paralyze you with their songs. And then when they become an ancient earworm, they can charm you, confuse you, fear you, paralyze you, sleep you, weaken you, or just rack you with pain. Like, just all from the songs that they're singing. And then when they become ancient, they finally get a feature called Harmonize. They can continue to sing a song that it was already singing, adding a second song to it. So now they can choose to keep you confused, but also paralyzed and things like that.
Double up the songs.
It was pretty fun. And that was a monster that came about entirely because of a pun. Just because of the
I
earworms.
really like it. The evolution of the songs is cool. Also, it's similar. It reminds me. It seems like it's like a slightly more thought out fairy dragon. Similar vibe.
It was a lot of
where
fun.
it's like, but instead of you just giving it spells, you like give it a whole new sort of evolving mechanic. Does it stay small the whole time? I didn't even check.
No, it becomes large eventually.
No, they get big.
And
I like that the ancient one is just large. Though.
Yeah, it's
that
not
is
even
very
huge. Yeah,
funny.
it was important to me that it's not like a fucking gargantuan, like actual dragon. It's just like the size of a horse by the time it's like ancient.
Yeah.
The fun thing is I use them in my Twitch Tales game, and the main character is in that game. There's like a running joke that they're terrible at panpipes. They have panpipe proficiency, but they just every time they try and use them, they're rolling like less than 5. And so they're just getting themselves into terrible scenarios with these panpipes. Then they go to the Feywild, and they decide, like, while they're walking along, they're just going to play the panpipes to themselves, and they roll a nat 20 on it, and they're like, "Oh my god, we're finally amazing at panpipes! It's incredible!" And I was like, "Hey, here's the thing, though. Music has a lot of power in the Feywild." And so they started, basically, they got them with the nat 20 panpipes, they got themselves into the middle of a courtship between 2 earworms that were having a singing harmonizing battle, essentially, to court each other. And then this earworm came over to Apis and was like, "Am I mating with you? What are you? You don't look like a dragon." And it was like singing, and Apis was playing and like, "I don't know what to do." And it was hilarious. It was a lot of fun, that one. Even on a net 20, it's wrong. Yeah. All right, let me see some of your monsters.
All right, I have a bunch that I pulled up. I remembered you said you've never used Modrons before. Is that correct?
No, yeah, I've always wanted to, but I've never really used them.
So I have a whole bunch of monsters that I made that are Modrons. A lot. I brought up 3 that I think are particularly a little fun. They're all pretty fast. So here.
Nice.
This is my first little one, and this one is entirely reliant on the feature Axiomatic Mind. Now, the feature Axiomatic Mind, for people that don't know, is a feature.
Remember, it's a feature that all the Modrons get that says that they cannot be compelled to act outside of their alignment. Is that one?
They cannot be compelled to act against their will or their instructions.
Yes, right.
And this is essentially a rat for mechanists. This is like a plague rat of mechanists.
Oh, I like it.
CR0 monster. There's the picture. They just look like little cogs that are a little bit broken. I think I wrote some flavor text. Even the shifting gears of mechanists have pest problems from time to time. Cogloids might seem cute, but much like rats, they carry disease, not one of infection or illness, but of chaos and entropy. And basically, they have 2 main things.
I love the idea, like the fact that what other beasts and natural things would live in a world of cogs and stuff. I love that.
Yeah, so they have a feature called interlocking movement. If 3 or more of them are within 5 feet of each other, they can choose to act on the same turn in the initiative order using the highest initiative roll, so long as they move together and attack the same target. So they can like always go on the same time if they're right next to each other.
Cool.
So it's like a false swarm.
This is your artwork as well.
Yeah.
And
then they have
up.
Yeah, because they work as a team.
Yeah, love it.
And then they have dismantling pinch. It's a +0 to hit, 1 piercing damage. But if the target has the axiomatic mind feature, which means any Modron,
Modrons,
it has to make a wisdom saving throw. And if it fails, it is compelled to act in a manner contrary to its nature and its instructions for 1 minute. And
I love that as well. I love that as well because from a physics perspective, it's just like it's as simple as just putting yourself like it's already like a little cog, a cogloid. Yeah. And like if a one cog is turning clockwise, and that means that the one that it's meshing with is turning anti-clockwise. And so it's going in a particular direction, and that's the mechanics that are built into its brain, telling it to act in a particular way. And they just like pull those two cogs apart and insert themselves, which means this one's now going clockwise, and the other one's actually going clockwise. It's going the opposite way, so it's not just fucking it up; it's fucking it up in the directly opposite way. I love that. That's so clever.
Yeah. And for every attack they hit in the turn, the DC goes up by 1. So if 6 attack you, it becomes a DC 16.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So the idea is like they don't really cause problems, but they lead to Modron problems.
Yeah, right.
Like they're nothing to a regular adventurer.
Yeah.
If they're messing with Modrons, then those Modrons might go crazy.
The adventurers get into the plane of Mechanus, and they're like, there's like everybody's just going crazy, and there's a Modron just stabbing somebody, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And they're like, we got a cogloid infestation. And they're like, oh god, it must be a real big deal, must be a real big monster and a problem. And then they find them out, and they're like, these things? Just smash them? Like, why are they a problem? You're like, but what? Careful, they might get into your gears. And the players are like, what are you talking? I don't have gears.
Yeah, they're just little guys.
Which could actually have you like it could be a side quest, a mini side quest thing. Like even if you're not on Mechanus, you could be somewhere else, and then a Modron diplomat or something comes to seek out some adventurers that are like, hey, we need adventurers that aren't Modrons to come home with us and fix some problem that we have, and then like they come and actually recruit the players directly. Speaking
of Modron emissaries, do you want to see my emissary of order? The Modron emissary of order. Do. First of all, I'm very proud of the art for this one. I'm proud of the art for all of them. I don't make art that much anymore. I just sent you a link for it. Here's the emissary of order. He's got a little flag of Mechanus.
Emissary of order. He's got a little flag. But do you have a flag? No flag, no country.
I got some. I think I wrote flavor text for this one too. When Modrons must do diplomatic dealings with neighboring realms, you can bet your arcane focus that the troop will bring at least one emissary of order. Their presence certainly makes the whole encounter a lot more straightforward, for better or worse. They're a CR3. They got okay hit points, true sight, all the regular Modron stuff, axiomatic mind. They have something called planar anchor. They're immune to any spell or effect that would alter its form. Additionally, if a spell or effect would transport the emissary against its will, basically, you can't make it go anywhere other than Mechanus. If you teleport it to another dimension, it just goes to Mechanus.
Yeah.
I also pulled something from the Marut. The Marut
even if it's on CR... So even if it's on Mechanus, so if somebody cast Banish on it while they were already on Mechanus,
only if they try to send it to another plane.
So like demiplanes, do they count? Like
yeah. So if you send it to a demiplane, it just basically reappears in front of you if you're on Mechanus.
Right. Yeah. And likewise for like the spells like Rope Trick and Magnificent Mansion and stuff, which are demiplanes. You just walks into the Rope Trick and it just like walks through it as if it's not even there. It's like I can't get into that room.
Yeah, because the whole idea for me for Mechanus and Modrons is that everything basically has a single purpose.
Yeah.
So it's like this is what it's gonna do. It's gonna go where it needs to go, and that's the only place it's gonna go. Yeah. And then it'll go back. I pulled something from the Marut. They do not roll for attacks. They automatically hit with their attacks.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Their attacks automatically hit and do 5 force damage. They get 3 attacks. And then they have a feature called Enforce Parameters. Each creature of the emissary's choice within 60 feet has to make a wisdom saving throw or have its alignment shift to lawful for 24 hours. And if they succeed on the saving throw, their alignment shifts to lawful for 10 minutes.
Right.
So
either way,
whatever happens, everybody has to follow the
either way,
rules.
you follow the rules now. I like that. All right, everybody, you're following the rules. Chill out.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's very
Exactly.
cool.
Let me show you one more
I
Modron.
really like its artwork. With the
Thank
little,
you.
the little cube with the little ball in it.
Yeah. Let me show you one more Modron.
The little Mechanist flag. Mechanist.
You like the flag?
Yeah. It's just a champion of Mechanist. Like, yay, Mechanist is the best.
Here's one more. This is called a sorting drone. It's very good at sorting things. That's basically what it does.
Nice. I like that. Already.
For some, order is important. For others, it is the foundation of their very existence, such is the case with the massive sorter drones. Their eyes have been trained to see into a creature's very soul, or just what they have in their pockets. It's CR7. It's got okay hit points. Regular Modron stuff. It has a feature called Uncanny Eye. When a sorting drone can see a creature, it learns all of their game statistics, abilities, and inventory.
Nice.
And it can store this information for up to 100 creatures at a time.
Oh, shit.
And then it has a multi-attack. It can make 8 pincer attacks. And then it can either use its sort ability or its pacify ability. The pincer deals no damage. It's similar to the roper, actually. Deals no damage, grabs you, restrains you. And then sort, and it can hold 8 creatures at a time. And it has a reach of 40 feet. The drone moves each creature grappled by it to an unoccupied space of the drone's choice within reach. So it can literally sort you.
Nice. I like that.
Yep. And it's like, the idea is that...
You're going over here now. No, you're in size order.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be like, we need to do this in size order, or you have the most items, or whatever.
Yeah, and then I'm going to arrange you by hit points.
Exactly. The idea is like this
see all
thing
of your
just could
features. That's really cool too. Who's got the most spell slots left? Yeah. Can choose anything of its size. You have +9 to hit, by the way, in case you wanted to.
Oh yes, to hit. Thank you for that. I'll fix that later.
And then pacify.
And then it has this last feature is pacify. Basically, it can shoot an electrical charge through one of its things, zap a creature it has grappled for lightning damage, and stun them. The idea is it's like, if you aren't going to let it sort you, it's going to pacify you so it can sort you.
Yeah. The question that comes up for me, though, is, let's see, unless it says, so it's a hit, and target is grappled on a hit, and it's a, it doesn't say, it just says one target, so it could be a creature or an object, and then it says it sorts them to a place it can see, and it's any creature. So, is it at all? Because it's only it is size category huge itself, which is helpful. Is there a size limit? Is my question. Like can it just move around like 8 different
the intention
huge
was
or
that
gargantuan creatures?
The intention was that it could move anything within the normal grapple limit rules. Right. Like it is very strong in moving creatures around.
Yeah,
that is the one thing it is very good at.
Yeah.
So those are some of my Modrons.
23 strength and is huge, so you should be able to grapple anything huge.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
Cool. Yeah, I like those. Those are really fun. Some order is important.
Let's see. Do you want to see?
Love the artwork for this one as well. Little squiggly arms.
Oh, thank you.
the little feet with like shoes on.
Yeah, because Modrons always kind of look like people robots, you know?
Yeah.
Do you want to see one more?
Of course.
Would you rather look at a giant carnivorous plant?
Ooh.
Let me show you my giant carnivorous plant. This is a weird one. I don't actually know if this is good, but I like the idea of it quite a bit. Here, I just posted it to you. It's on Reddit, so anybody can find it if they want.
It's on Reddit.
Let
me zoom in now.
So this is called a carnivorous tillandsia, and the name comes from actually this might not be the. Can I be bigger? No, it's about the same. Okay. The name comes from those air plants that like don't have like Spanish moss, that family of plants. Like plants that aren't in the ground, plants that just grow in the like that just like hang from trees and grow on branches but don't actually root.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And the idea is that it's a big monster that kind of lives floating around.
Plants that don't root. Incels.
Yeah.
Incel
So
plants.
it's got a lot of stuff going on. It's CR11. It's resistant to a bunch of damage. It's vulnerable to fire damage, though. It's got blind sight, but very short range. It basically can't see outside of itself. It's gargantuan. It can occupy other creatures' space and vice versa. When a creature enters its space, the creature's vision is reduced to 5 feet. Its speed is halved.
Okay.
And if it attempts to move more than 15 feet on a turn, every additional 5 feet, it takes 2d6 piercing damage and has to make dexterity saving throws or become grappled. So the idea is like if you're trying to climb through it, you're sort of getting tangled up in it, and it like hurts the more you climb through it. It also has a feature called Sky. Yeah, it also has a feature called Sky Anchor. It's immune to spells or effects that would alter its form or location. The idea is like wherever it is, that's where it is. And then it has a Seed of Magic, and this is where sort of the ecosystem of it comes into play. Once it has grown to a size of 200 feet by 200 feet by 200 feet or larger, it sprouts a single seed pod at its center. Picking the seed pod requires a successful nature check, or the pod is destroyed. If the monster is at 0 hit points before the seed pod is picked, the seed pod is destroyed. So you got to get into it to get the seed pod while it's alive. And if a spellcaster bakes and consumes the seed pod, they get a permanent +1 bonus to their spell attack.
Oh shit!
So it's like no cap, but it's like only one grows inside one of these things. And the idea is it's almost like a Venus flytrap for it's like a pitcher plant. Like it lures you to climb inside it. So its attacks are basically it has these little arm attacks with a reach of 0. Basically you have to be inside it, but it just whips you with its tentacles and poisons you. And then it has a feature where it sprays the inside with acid, like its digestive juices. And if you're grappled by it, you have disadvantage on the save. And if you're poisoned by it, you automatically fail the save. And then it gains hit points equal to the total damage dealt of all the creatures inside during that time.
So yeah, it's regaining. Shit, man, this is cool. The creature's vision is reduced to 5 feet isn't clear enough as to what would happen with like true sight and tremor sense and blind sight. As to like are all of those things reduced to 5 feet? Is it like
I probably would change the language to be like the creature's blinded or the creature has, or it's as if they're heavily obscured or something.
Regardless of how the creature sees, it can't see more than 5 feet up or something like that.
Yeah.
Speed is halved, and if it attempts to move more than 15 feet on a turn, for every additional 5 foot it moves, it takes piercing damage. So you can move 15 feet on a turn without damage, but if you're trying to move more than that, you're taking piercing.
Yeah.
So if your like speed is halved, but you're dashed and you're hasted, you're still gonna.
Or you're something with a faster movement speed. But yeah, it's kind of a fun monster.
Needles, vines closing round.
I've only used it once, and it was more of like a set piece that my players.
I was going to say, how are you keeping track of that in anything other than Theater of the Mind?
Well, the idea is like it is the battle. Like when I used it, it was the battle map. Like they were sort of like it was a set piece, and then they decided to go inside it. But then when they went inside it, I just had a battle map of like thorny vines that was it, basically. But yeah, it's a pretty fun little guy. I like it. I have a couple that I like that I think are pretty cool.
There's a damage or grappled by the Tilanzia. What's the law behind it?
The what?
The law behind it. Like, where did you come up with the idea for this?
For this?
With like a
there was a while where I was. Yeah, there was a while where I was like trying to think of what things would live in other. I was trying to build like for Mechanus, I was like, what animals would live in Mechanus? And I think this was what would be like a predatory plant that would live in the plane of air.
Right.
And I was thinking about pitcher plants, and I was trying for a long time to build monsters into encounters.
Treasure and also certain death.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so I like trying to build things that feel like they fit in a specific place in the world. Let me show you one.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to see?
Mellow Yellow asks, can't you teleport inside of it?
In theory, yes. In theory, if you have Dimension Door and you can guesstimate where its center is, you could teleport immediately inside of it. You could definitely do that.
Yeah.
It's definitely not,
it's
stoppable.
not,
you need to do the math.
The seed pod is at its center. It doesn't mean like down to the foot. Like it's just somewhere in the middle-ish. So you'd still jump in. And you'd get to the level of a map. That's when you'd put the map in and be like, okay, bam, you dimension dot in. Here's the map. You're somewhere in here, and now you've got to work out where the seed pod is.
Yeah, I think that. I also feel like if you teleport in, you don't know how. You don't even. You teleport in. You're surrounded by vines. Yeah. So you're like, all right, I just got to start digging in a direction. It's like you appear in the middle of the ground in Minecraft. You just got to dig in a direction and hope you get lucky. Do you want to look at a Fey Giant or an anti-life fairy or a anti-wizard fairy?
Oh man, these are all fun. I love Fey creatures. Let's go Fey Giant with like a Fomorian type thing.
All right, this is my Feywild Giant. He's okay. He's very simple, but he's got one feature that I love. But he's a CR10. He's a big boy. And he's let's see, what did I write here? The effects of the Fey Giant's magic are subtle and can be seen in the activities of the woodland creatures around it. Beasts of all sorts flock to the giant, compelled through forces that neither the beast nor giant seem to understand or mind. So basically, the idea is it's sort of a standard giant. It whacks you with a bouquet of trees. It's a very big giant, so it holds a bouquet of trees that it whacks you with, and then it can throw trees. But the main feature that it has that I like quite a lot is its feature called Enchanting Presence. Beasts that see the giant must immediately make a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by the giant. While charmed, they can understand the speech of the giant. Additionally, they consider the giant a true friend and do their best to aid it in any possible way. The effects last until the charmed creature takes damage or is out of sight of the giant for 10 minutes. The giant is unaware of these effects.
I like
so the idea is... Yeah, so the idea is it's like sort of like Snow White. Like it just has birds and animals just like running around, helping it, like flying around it. Like it's just friends with the forest.
And it doesn't. I love that the giant's unaware of it. It's like, I don't know why this is happening.
Yeah,
it's just like, meh, it's what it is.
But it also will like fuck with you a little bit. Like if you polymorph somebody into a beast, or the druid is in beast form, and they see it, they're like linked into it.
That's great stuff. Tree bouquet. Plus 12 to hit.
Yeah.
What is it got here?
Yeah.
It's got so you're giving it a +4 proficiency bonus, essentially.
Yeah. CR10 usually gets +4, I think. I think it's at 11 that changes again. I don't remember. I might be wrong.
Hit target, bludgeon damage, succeedness, strength 7, not prone. That's one of the things I don't do with my my homebrewed monsters. I just remove challenge. I'm like, I've no idea.
I noticed that. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what the challenge of this thing is. I know that it's good enough for my, like, I'm good at, like, what I was saying before, the sort of just kind of knowing just from experience. I just have a feeling for it. I know that this will not TPK my party. I know that it will be a good fight, or it will be a relatively quick fight. So I just kind of know that stuff, but I'm like, I wouldn't be able to put a challenge number down on it.
I feel like a responsibility, and I hate that I do, but I feel like a responsibility to put challenge ratings, because like the most common thing that I get questions about from people is, how do you determine challenge rating? And the answer is, you have to just look at all the monsters that are around the challenge rating that you are interested in doing and that do similar things, and guess. And there are systems. I know Rackham has a system that he uses, but the number of
challenge rate and half monsters that could CPK a party, and the number of challenge rate and 7 monsters that they'll breeze past without even thinking twice. It just makes me go, I don't know, man. They're good for a rule of. They're good for a very brief kind of rule of thumb and nothing else. So I just don't bother with it.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing in the Dungeon Master's Guide about how to work out the challenge rating of a monster by like doing a whole bunch of calculations. I don't want to read any of that. Use its hit points and use its attack modifier and use its highest stat block and blah blah
Yeah.
Should be able to cast Earth Tremor anytime it moves. That'd be pretty funny, Mellow Yell, yeah. Like, just as a feature, like every time it moves, anyone within 10 feet of it must succeed in a strength save or be knocked prone or something. Dex save.
Let me show you one more, and then we can do other things if you want.
Yeah, we should make something together.
Yeah, I also do want to show you my 100-word subclass if you want to take a look
Yes,
at it.
I want to see that one.
It came out pretty good.
Subclass of Barbarian. I reckon, I don't know, maybe Barbarian subclasses would be an easy one to start with for the 100-word thing, because I feel like...
Well, I picked it because I know them really well.
Right.
And I felt like I could bang something out. Like, you could do sort of simple features. So this is called the Gloom Wisp. This was a while where I was like, maybe I'm going to be... There was like a hot second where I was like, if I want to be a real homebrew writer, I should have like encounter ideas for all my monsters. So that's why that's included.
Right.
But basically, if you scroll to the second page there, you can see the picture of it. It's just like a sad little, almost looks like a dead fairy surrounded by darkness.
Aww.
They say that if you notice a gloom wisp, you could try to outrun it, or just stamp out your campfire and pray it gets confused and goes away. Either way, it's going to be a cold night. The idea is they're attracted to light and they snuff out light. They are similarly designed to will-o-wisps, but like a little different. So a lot of the stats are very similar to will-o-wisp stats. They have the ability to extinguish.
50 feet, you ain't out. It's fast. You ain't outrunning that 50-foot fly.
Yeah. They can extinguish light within 30 feet of them as a bonus action. They're incorporeal. They have a area. They're permanently surrounded by a 15-foot radius sphere of magical silence. And then they have a feature called variable darkness, where they can shred, they can exude darkness that can be between a 5-foot radius and a 20-foot radius, and they can change that radius as a bonus action. And any creature that is within that darkness makes death saving throws at disadvantage. They get an ability called, make 2 rot attacks, which are basically just like, it touches you and it does rot damage, does some necrotic damage, and then you can't regain hit points until the start of its next turn. And then it gets this special feature, which is similar to the Will-o-Wisp's soul-eating feature, where basically, if you die, it can grab you, and then it can turn you into another one of these things.
Yeah.
And I make reference to the Lord of Bramble, and then if the creature is not returned to life, a root stalker will be able to grow for like basically. I have another monster called a root stalker, which is like an evil tree. So basically, if it fucks with your corpse, then if it fucks with your corpse and somebody else does revivify on you, you come back, but you turn into one of these things. If nobody does anything to you, a evil tree grows out of your body.
Is that the only way that they reproduce these things?
Yeah. The idea
of having people revive them.
Yeah, I was doing like a dark fae thing where I was like, what if like corrupting fae creatures? So this was like the Gloom Wisp was one, and then the Root Stalker is like just a big evil tree monster that I made.
I'll tell you how my world building head goes with this monster. With the as it's written, extinguish light. Extinguish any non-magical light source within 30 feet of it as a bonus action. Immediately, I went. Somebody in the real world, then outside of the Feywild, has captured one of these and sells them as firefighting aids, because they just keep them in cages and they take them to raging forest fires, and is just like holds them within 30 feet of the raging forest fire, and they can just be like, bam, off. And
that's
cool.
Because
there's no limitation given on how much fire they can extinguish with a bonus action. It's just any non-magical fire. And so they just walk through the forest being like, you're going to extinguish this thing or I'm going to poke you with the kettle prod again. And then they're just like turning out the fire. And that's how I would introduce one to my party in the material plane before they go to the Feywild and see one of these evil things in person.
That would be a lot of fun. But yeah, they're just some little undead Fey monsters. They're pretty cute.
Yeah. Cool.
Do you wanna see my 100-word subclass?
I do, yes.
Or do you want to look at something else first?
Let me see the 100-word subclass that you've done.
All right, let me get this thing so I can share it.
Let's do some. Let's do some streamception while I'm waiting.
Now, here's the thing. I will post it in the Discord now. Now, I gave myself some very specific rules for this, okay?
Yeah.
So let me tell you the rules, because I'm going to be doing this on stream live tomorrow, or I should know what days I'm doing things on stream. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow my stream day is building 12 subclasses in 100 words or less each. But here are the rules. These are things that we're not, just so we know. Titles, like third level feature names and stuff, they don't count for the word count.
Yeah.
Flavor text at the beginning does not count for the word count.
Okay. So it's
situations where you, just the feature. Situations where it says 15 feet, like that, that's going to be one word.
One word.
And then in addition, for subclasses that will require tables, like expanded spell tables, specifically spell lists, won't count either. So it's just going to be the features. All right, but here, let me read it.
So the title's third warping rage, that doesn't count.
No, that doesn't count.
So
it's just while raging.
While raging, you can use it. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a portal barbarian. You've learned to use your muscles to bend space-time. Your weapons sunder the fabric of reality. When you rage, distance becomes a matter of perspective.
Just got reminded that somebody just thrusts their hand forward into space-time and then tears open a portal.
Yeah, I think of the scene in The Matrix when Neo flexes and the hallway bends.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Love that.
So I can't promise that this is going to be good, because my goal, more than it being good, is can I write a subclass in 100 words or less? So I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. At third level, we get two features. We get Warping Rage and Residual Energy. While raging, you can use your bonus action to teleport 15 feet to a point you can see. So while raging, you have half of Misty Step every round.
Yeah.
And then also at third level, when you hit a creature immediately after teleporting, you can treat that attack as if you had cast Booming Blade.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So you get a little bit of extra damage that scales over time if you hit after attacking through a teleport. That's third level.
Yeah, it's useful.
At sixth level, this is the one that I feel like is the most confusing, but I also like it a lot.
There's a space before sixth.
Yeah, bend space at sixth level. When you take the use object action, you can interact with objects that aren't being awarded or carried within 15 feet of you.
Okay.
So the idea is, like, I can bend time to, like, mess with a thing 20 feet away.
And open that door from over here. I can close that door. I can pull that lever. I can... Interestingly as well, because you could do that, like, a lot of, like, portcullises and stuff. There's some what do they call them? Modules that... You get up to an abandoned castle, and you've got the first challenge is how to find your way in. You can just be like, that's the lever on the hints. That's the wheel to raise the portcullis. I'll just bend space and use it.
Yeah, it essentially
and it's not super powerful because
mage
use
hand.
object isn't all that often, but it's great.
Yeah, it's essentially mage hand, but there's a hidden benefit. It's mage hand that allows you to make the mage hand as strong as your strength modifier, as opposed to whatever it
there's no
normally
limitation on like 10 pound carrying blah blah blah. It's also mage hand has the limitation of not being able to pass through objects. You have to be able to see where you're casting mage hand, and even if you can see it, like if it's behind glass, you can't put your mage hand through it. Rules as written. Whereas this, you could look through a window and be like, I can interact with that thing. Also, it doesn't specify, maybe because of the word limit, but it doesn't specify that it has to be objects you can see. So
it does not.
You could be blindfolded, or you could be in a prison cell and just be like, I'm going to manipulate. I'm going to see if there's keys outside of the cell anywhere that I can find.
Yeah,
as long as the keys are hanging up and not being worn or carried.
You're just like banging your hand against the wall 30 feet around you to see what's there.
Just, stick your hand through a portal and just nope.
Feel around
over here, another portal.
Yeah. And then we have at 10th level, you can cast Dimension Door a number of times equal to your con modifier per day, including while raging.
While raging, that's good, yeah.
And then at 14th level, once per turn after you teleport, you can use your reaction to make a single weapon attack.
After you teleport, reaction to single weapon attack. So after while raging, You can teleport just anytime. It's your bonus action.
So basically, at
So then
14th level, if you teleport and hit somebody immediately afterwards, you can get an extra attack on that turn.
Yeah.
Or you can dimension door to somebody and hit them.
Dimension door. Oh yeah, because it's not just the Misty Step teleport.
Yeah, it might be a little too strong, I think, but it's very similar to the Berserker Barbarians 14th level feature.
Extra
But yeah,
attack.
that was 100-word subclass.
And on that extra attack, Booming Blade as well. If you hit a creature with an attack immediately after teleporting. Just the one attack, like the Booming Blade thing's just on the first attack after a teleport.
Yeah, the Booming Blade damage scales similarly to the Zealot Barbarians damage scaling. It's basically like adding the cantrip damage on top.
Yeah. With the wording of residual energy, if you hit a creature with an attack immediately after teleporting, so if, for instance, you are already raging at the start of your turn, so you don't spend a bonus action on that, you bonus action to teleport to a point you can see first before anything else. Then you take your attack action to take the attack action, which by this point you've got 2. Then you've got a reaction weapon attack as well. If you miss with either of the first 2, then you won't get the Booming Blade even if you hit on the third one, because it's not the attack immediately after teleporting.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is it has to be the first one.
Yeah, the first.
It's a little bit of risk. It's a little bit of risk because it's a little strong. The other thing that I would probably specify in the language if I had more time would be that you would have to take, like, you wouldn't be able to take movement before teleporting. So if you can't teleport to a creature, you don't get to do this. But yeah, that's my 100-word subclass. It's not bad for 100 words, I think.
That's very good for 100 words.
It feels like a subclass, doesn't it? Like
it also feels like something that's it also feels like something that is a niche that isn't filled already, which is one of the problems with some subclasses. It's like, I want them to be this thing, and it's like, well, you could just do that with this subclass that exists and just flavor it differently. Yeah. Whereas this is like a barbarian that can teleport is super useful, and a lot of the barbarian features are already in there because they are because they're acknowledging how difficult it is to be a melee caster, a melee class that isn't always in melee. And so, like, the instinctive pounce at the start of when you go into a rage, you can take half your movement, and the fact that they get increased movement speed because they're already acknowledging, hey, it sucks to be playing a character that has to be in melee and then you're not in melee, so let's get you into melee as quickly as you can. So this does feel like it goes along with that, and it's like, yeah, you can teleport. You can jump around.
Anyway, Homebrew. We make Homebrew. We're cool.
That's cool stuff, dude.
Do you wanna make something? Do you wanna fuck around with something?
Let's make something. What do you want to make? A monster of some kind?
Yeah, let's make a monster. But also, where do you? I'm happy to do any. I would say monster or item. Do you have a preference? Does your chat have a preference? Does my chat have a preference?
Should we ask them? Let's ask the
chats. What do you guys want to do? Everybody in chat right now, spam 1 if you want a monster, and spam 2 if you want a magic item.
1 for monster, 2 for item. Go. What do you want? The first one I got was 12.
We have similar chats, I see.
Oh, that's a lot of 2s.
I'm seeing a lot of 2s also. I had a bunch of 1s, but then mostly 2s after it.
All right, my chat is definitely saying items. Is your coming down?
All right, let's make a magic item.
Half and half. All right, let's make a magic item.
Mine's pretty half and half. I did get a bunch of monsters at the end, but that's fine.
Fuck them. They were late.
Where do you want to make it? Do you want to write it in a document, or do you want to write it in Homebrewery? Where do you want to write it?
Let's. I'll write. I think I'll just straight, because if I don't put it into Homebrewery as I'm making it, it never gets put in there because I forget. So
Can you send me a link?
I can.
The scary link that allows me to see that work in progress.
Allows you to edit. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll post it in my Discord.
I'd appreciate you not doing that.
No, I won't. In fact, I will.
You're not showing it on screen.
The thing that I do where I make sure that I don't show it on screen. Yeah.
All right.
I have to sign in.
Oh, interesting. You have to.
I might not be able to view it.
I can. I can. Let's see. How are we going to fix this then? We should do it in a Google document then, and then I'll put it into items later.
All right, let's do it in a Google Doc.
Google Doc.
New Google Doc.
You set it up as a Google Doc. Google. In the meantime, I'm gonna show off some of the other items to the people watching. In case they looted the Hag of the Future, the one that's all about theatre. In case they looted her place, I came up with some items that they could have picked up. She had some opera glasses, which are those like little binoculars. As a bonus action, a creature may use a free hand to look through these miniature binoculars, granting them an extra 60-foot range on the next spell they cast before the end of their turn. tiny little theatre opera glasses that gives you an extra 60-foot range on your turn. It's pretty fun.
I love that, dude. Those are the types of items that I feel like players fall in love with.
I love some of the funnest items are like common and uncommon items. Stuff that's like
we could try to make a couple. We could make a couple small items.
A couple of small.
All right, I made a document. I sent you a link to it.
Thank you. I also made the play-by-play bill. This playbill, once attuned to, is written for the play of your life. By looking at the synopsis section of the playbill, you can cast the spell Augury without needing any components. Once this property of the playbill has been used, you must finish a short or long rest to use it again. Furthermore, history checks about events in your life are made with advantage when the playbill is on your person. So it's like a little story of your life, and you can look through it and be like, what's happening next in the next chapter, in the next arc of my life?
That's awesome.
And get advantage.
It's very fey.
Alrighty.
Very mystical.
Boobs. Yeah, okay, I've got editing rights. Gotta check, you see.
And butts.
Boobs and butts.
And wieners.
Butts.
And butts and wieners.
Butts and wieners. Boobs and butts and wieners.
All right.
And what are we? That's not what we're making today. That is not
sure?
the magic item. What are we wanting? How do you start? Where do you get your inspiration when you're making something?
Okay. I usually start with like what. I usually start with, am I trying to make like a story item or like a just like simple like does a thing item? And I think we should try to build something that is plug and play. Like maybe there's a story to it that somebody can put on, but it's not like the Ring of Albador. I think we do like a thing. And then the types of items I've been enjoying making lately have been items that like do something interesting that isn't particularly profound. Right, So I feel like shooting for something uncommon would make sense. If we do, here's what I'll say. If we make it a weapon, I don't want its power to be weapon related. No,
for sure. Like I'm on the
So I would say
if it was like a dagger or something, it would be a dagger that does something like it gets bonuses when it's cutting cheese or something. Like it gives you advantage on cooking checks because it's I've just come up with it right there. We've got a common magic item that is basically a dagger of cooking, a dagger of food preparation, a chef's dagger. That's it. It's just a regular. It uses like regular dagger stats, but it gives you advantage on any cooking utensils check or something like that.
Yeah, something.
You can slice onions without crying. You can cut cheese extra thin.
You are immune to any negative effects of cooking. Crying from onions, getting hot peppers in your eyes. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, boom. One magic item done.
Got it.
Does it? No attunement. Uncommon.
Yeah.
No
I'd say even
attunement.
common.
Boom.
I reckon that's a common item. Is that one?
You think common?
Oh yeah,
right,
common.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
No accidentally cutting yourself. Yeah. All right.
What?
We're on a roll.
You know, when you said dagger, the thing that I thought of was, you know, how people will like stab a letter with a dagger.
Yeah.
What if there's a dagger where whenever you stab it into a mundane object, you can create the illusion of a letter stuck to it that can say whatever you want?
That is fantastic. I love that because
Messenger's dagger.
Because that is one of the features of like prestidigitation and stuff is you can leave like marks on walls to like leave some messages for people. Messengers
Into
dagger.
a solid surface, such as a door or wall or rock. No, we'll say tree. You can create. How would you even write that? Let's think.
You can. Let's. I'm gonna look up.
You can have the dagger. This is not the way to write it. You can have the dagger manifest
an illusion up to a foot. Yeah, up to a 1 foot square illusion of a message. The message can contain up to 25 words.
25 words or one illustration.
Yeah. Yes.
If the
oops, I've checked you.
Illustration is of a specific person, not Persian, person, it is not accurate.
I like that. I'm going to add a secondary effect that's come from my chat here that says, if used as a letter opener, the letter is guaranteed to not be destroyed. It's such a stupid thing. Like if you're gonna open a letter with a dagger, your dungeon master's like, "Oh, roll a dexterity check against destroying the. You gotta cut the letter in half," and you're like, "Haha! I have the messenger's dagger though, so therefore I don't have to roll a check." It's used as a letter opener. A picture's worth 25 words, as the saying goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Messenger's dagger and a chef's dagger. What are the items can we make, everybody?
All right, let's make one that is effective as a adventurer, because these are two fun
useful ones. Yeah, the fun ones. But
let's make
useful
one
things. What does one need to use?
And should it be another dagger? Because now we've made two daggers.
Yeah. Are there already like boots that can prevent you from being like give you the sure-footed condition? Because that just suddenly came to my mind. You know the sure-footed feature that's that goats have.
You mean dagger boots?
What the fuck is it, a dagger?
Because that's what you're describing is boots with daggers pointing down to keep you steady. That's what you're describing. Boots
with like they're like football boots, but instead of cleats, they've got daggers sticking out.
Yeah, they're cleats. How do you spell cleats?
CLEATS, I think. I think it's an A. Dagger boots, cleats. Gives you the sure-footed feature, which is we could just copy paste it from whatever.
I also think that maybe you should ignore the hazardousness of ice.
Yes, while wearing these boots, you have advantage on any saving throw against falling prone. Although that is kind of the feature of like if you're on ice, you'd fall prone anyway, right?
Well, you could say you could ignore difficult terrain created by snow and ice.
Oh yeah.
We could say something like that.
Additionally, you ignore difficult terrain caused by snow and ice.
What about this? What if while wearing the boots, if you make an unarmed strike with them, you can choose to break the dagger off into the target, dealing some amount of extra damage, and then they lose all magical property until you take a long rest to affix new daggers to them.
Until you affix daggers to them over a long rest. I like that. You write that. I'm gonna take
I got you.
what somebody's put in the chat as to making a new magical item, which is just ice skates. While wearing these boots, your movement speed on icy surfaces is doubled. If you make an unarmed strike against make an unarmed strike using the boots. The damage is 1d4 plus strength modifier, and the damage type is slashing. There you go. We've got ice skates as a magic item. While wearing these boots, your movement speed on icy surfaces is doubled. And if you make an unarmed strike using these boots, the damage you deal is 1d4 plus your strength modifier, and the damage type is slashing. I'll just slash.
I like it. Okay, I added this. When you make an unarmed attack with the boots, your attack deals an additional 1d4 piercing damage, and the target takes an additional 1d4 piercing damage at the start of each of their turns until they or another creature remove the dagger as an action. The boots lose all magical properties until you replace the daggers over the course of a long rest.
Love it. It's fucking stupid.
So stupid. So stupid.
I know I'm brute with the attack. It has to do for damage There's an action.
It's good though, right?
Yeah.
It works.
It is. Because you're adding a d4 damage, they're sticking a dagger into them and then breaking it up.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool. What else do we want? Just all dagger based items that we're coming up
Okay. How about we make a My first thought was that we could make something called a big dagger, and we could just make it a sword.
You have a big dagger. It's a common magic item. Big dagger.
Big dagger. Common. This. Okay. Here's how we're ready. Okay. This dagger loses the. What are you?
I can't get.
What are you doing?
I can't get below what
Escape
you're typing
me.
because you keep going to the bottom. I need to chuck a bunch of things here so that I can type here.
There we go. Okay. This dagger loses the light and finesse property and deals 2d6 damage instead of 1d4.
This is genuine. Like it's a joke, but it's genuinely powerful. It's like the have you seen the joke item that people come up with? That's like it's an item of attunement, and it gives you an extra attunement slot, but it requires attunement. You seen that one?
Yeah.
And people are like, haha, isn't that funny? And then you're like, well, no, because actually artificers have a feature at a later level that means they get bonuses to their spellcasting and DC and stuff based on the number of items they're attuned to. So in reality, you just get a million of those items that's like, it requires attunement and it gives you another attunement slot. So sometimes these joke items are actually super useful. So like this one
allows small creatures to wield
this one
sword.
means that you only need proficiency in the dagger in order to wield a greatsword, which is pretty much
and every
class. Like every class,
small.
Yeah, every class, like wizards and stuff, and sorcerers that are only like, you're proficient in a club and a dagger. This time they're like, well, I got 2c6 dagger here.
Yeah.
I
still can't do great weapon master, but that's fine.
No, because it's not considered the heavy property, right?
Somebody in my chat said, idea for a shield where whatever the element Okay, so for in D&D, you don't have a +2 resistance or a -1 resistance. That's not how damage works
No,
in
they
D&D.
don't do damage reduction.
The way that damage works in D&D is you either don't have any resistance to the damage and you take it normal. You have vulnerability to the damage where you take it double. You have resistance where you take half, or you have immunity where you don't take any. So there's already some spells and abilities in D&D that use that. Like Absorb Elements basically does that, where if you are hit with a type of damage, you cast Absorb Elements, you gain resistance to that damage for the turn, and then at the end, the next turn, you can like punch and do a little bit of that type of damage. Somebody in my chat said, could we try to make a cursed item that is good? Like that cursed item that somebody would want to use. That was a request. We'll see if we can do it. A copycat dagger? Why are you typing so quietly all of a sudden? Your typing was loud before, then it got really quiet.
I don't know. Maybe my
silence
noise gate. Maybe a noise gate on my mic is cutting it out.
Maybe. I like that one. Any dagger? You got a dagger? You got 2 daggers.
Yeah, exactly. So you can be like, I don't know how to use it. It's kind of, I don't know how to use a greatsword, but I'll grab this dagger, I'll grab that greatsword. It turns into a dagger. And then it also means that the dagger, while it's in your hand, your offhand has the thrown property. So you can throw it like a dagger, and then the second it leaves your hand, it's no longer a dagger, and you've just thrown a greatsword.
It's true. Also, improvised weapons work with that.
Yeah, true.
You got a dagger, you pick up a fork,
Pick up
now
the
you
fork,
got 2
it's a
daggers.
dagger. Yeah, exactly. So you can always, like, it'd be a good rogue item to be like, I'm always dual wielding, regardless. Yeah. You just need to, and that way as well, you only need to smuggle 1 dagger if you're doing like a smuggling a weapon into a prison or something, or like anything like that, where any place where people are going to search you, you can just, as long as you can get that 1 dagger in, you've got 2 daggers.
It's like pretty good, but also still not that good.
It's not super powerful, but it's so fun. It's the sort of thing that I would love to have as most of my characters, like just those silly little things.
Yeah. What we're doing tonight is me and Rob. This is Rob Hartley GM. Go follow him if you don't. He's on Twitch and YouTube. And he is a very fun creator, does lots of different D&D stuff. And tonight we were sharing some of each other's homebrew with each other, and now we're making homebrew. And we just started making. I don't know. We sort of went down a weird rabbit hole of daggers.
Because you started by saying we shouldn't do weapons, and then you were like, if it's a weapon, let's make it a weapon that has like an additional effect that's nothing to do with the actual property of it being a weapon. And I said, yeah, like if it was a dagger that could cut cheese, and then suddenly we made the chef's dagger, and then that turned into the messenger's dagger, and then I went away from daggers towards boots, and you brought it back to daggers by saying it's dagger boots though.
Yeah. Honestly, it does, I think, speak to. I think there is something to be said for simple, fun magic items. You don't need to overthink them that much. Like,
no.
Almost, I mean, with some of these, maybe the giant's dagger could get a little bit weird, but I would throw any of these first ones into my game and wouldn't even think twice about it. Like,
yeah.
I don't think I need to design it beyond what's written on the page here.
Yeah. Like the giant's dagger is, as you've said, one of the ones there I'm like, that does give the chance for all of my party to be wielding 2d6 greatswords.
Yeah, somebody's gonna figure out how to be annoying with that, but for the most part, I think it'll be pretty chill. All right, let's make a cursed item.
Cursed item.
And should it be a dagger?
Cursed. I mean, we're already on the daggers, right? I guess it's gotta be a dagger.
It could be I'll tell you what I don't want it to be.
What?
It could be because we want it to actually be good. We want it to be usable. But it could be a great sword that doesn't have the heavy, or that lacks the heavy and two-handed property, and has the light and finesse property, but only does 1d4 damage. So it looks like a great sword, but you can dual wield it.
That is a good cursed item though, because people will like loot it, and it's like as soon as you pick up this greatsword, or maybe maybe the properties of it becoming a dagger are only once you've attuned to it. So you can use it as a greatsword without knowing what it is, and then the dungeon master says like it's got runes etched up the side, and you'll have to take some time with it to find out. Blah blah blah. And then as soon as you attune to it, it basically becomes a dagger, but you can't drop it. you can't choose to use any other weapon at that point. Like with the Berserker Great Axe. I love that. Yeah, that's a good cursed item, and it's not a dagger. But
we want it to be one that people will use. The goal, at least for me, I feel like should be that. Oh wait, somebody just baned me. What's up, Zaxxer? Zaxxer said you sent them to me, and then they came to my chat and they baned me.
Oh, baned even? How dare they? I
give my chat the ability to bane me. They have the power to bane me if they want.
So you got a D4 for the next minute. Negative D4.
Yeah, but they can also bless me. I have a bunch of different channel point options, and they say they do lots of different things, but do you know what they always do? Almost nothing.
Almost nothing at all.
Yeah, they say things like you can make an offering. We'll see if it gets heard.
I blessed you. You got baned, and so now you got blessed.
Let's think of a cursed item that has a little bit of poetry. Okay, let me ask you this: you're playing a character. They're a cool new character that you are excited to play. Mm-hmm. They are a fighter, and they have a slice of darkness to them, but they're not an edgelord. They just have like a little, maybe they wear a little bit of like eyeliner, or one of their eyes has like a weird crystal in it or something. Let's think of a cool cursed item to give a martial character that likes leaning into the darkness a little bit as like a player, but it's still like a good item for a fighter to have.
So so your cursed items, you like to have them be genuinely useful enough to not want to get rid of the curse.
Yeah.
Like when you're using a cursed item, you want the character to be like, I can live with that. Rather than shit, let's go on a quest to get rid of this cursed item.
Yeah, I like that. I like it being like the pain of the curse is I like what it does, so I have to put up with a thing.
And do you like the curse to be related to the benefit? Like it's like you get this thing, but also that comes with this. That's like
I want it to be related to it in a way that one doesn't step on the other's toes. Like I'll give you a really simple example. An item that allows you to have advantage on strength checks, but disadvantage on charisma checks.
Yeah.
Something like that. So they're not like stepping on each other's toes.
Okay, yeah.
What if it's to do with a core? What if it has to do with let's make it have to do with using second wind.
Oh yeah.
Really tie it into a fighter item. Or action surge. Either one.
Whenever you use your second wind, you heal twice the number of hit points. So while attuned to this amulet or whatever, whenever you use your second wind, you heal twice the number of hit points. But this item is cursed, and while attuned to this item, your if we tie it to other fighter things like your indomitable feature is rolled at disadvantage or something.
Well, let's think about it. We're getting double healing. Why are we getting double healing? What is this thing doing? Where is it getting the healing from? Is it coming from us? Is it coming from future us? Is it coming from our friends?
You can't roll hit dice to regain hit points on a short rest or something.
That could be a way to do it. I was also thinking, what if you recovered double, but an ally lost hit points?
Potential. I try to steer away from that stuff because it encourages PvP kind of mentality, and people and the person you're stealing hit points from might get a bit miffed at that.
That's true.
I think if we stick it to fighter healing stuff, like whenever you use your second wind, you heal double the hit points, but you cannot whenever you roll hit dice to regain hit points on a short rest, you heal half the hit points rolled. So it's double and half. So we've got like a mirror sort of symmetry there, and you're healing better when you short rest, but worse when you. Healing better when you second wind, but worse when you short rest. Amulet of life poop.
I don't know what you call it yet. When you use your second wind feature, you regain twice the hit points, and all non-magical plants within 10 feet of you die.
I like that.
Because it's like it's consuming the life of them, you know?
Why is that not wanting to go there? What's it doing? Don't like that. Yes. This item is cursed. Well, blah, 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 because we have to be attuned, right?
Yeah. While attuned, you regain whenever you expend hit die. You regain half the normal HP hit points. Let's give it one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give it let's fill out the okay, now we actually have a little bit of a thought process here. So this item allows you to take the life from the world around you to give it to yourself, but it makes it harder for you to naturally regenerate. So to me, if this is a cursed item, it's almost like turning you into like a little bit of like a mini lich for a second.
Yeah.
So maybe we give it one more feature that sort of ties to undead.
When you deal, I was going to say, like, when you deal damage to a creature, you can choose to blah, 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 something, sap them. Or you have, like, a touch attack. While attuned to this amulet, you have your unarmed strikes heal you for the same amount of damage dealt. Because that's not a shit ton. Because unarmed strikes for a fighter are going to be 1 plus your strength mod, and maybe if you have the Tavern Brawler feature or something.
Yeah, but you could multi-class.
You could get it up to
unarmed fighter.
Yeah,
your
you
favorite
get up to like
feat.
1d8. Yeah, 1d8 plus your strength modifier, and you're healing that much once per day. Once per day when you hit with an unarmed strike.
What's the thing called?
The smite? No. Protect from evil and good. Do you count as undead for the sake of like cure wounds and stuff? Like because we're talking about healing, cure wounds doesn't.
No, but also that's not a 5e thing anymore. They changed. That's not a thing anymore.
Is it not? What do you mean?
Nah. Well, you can heal
cure wounds. You can heal undead with cure wounds.
Yeah, sure. You can heal anything with undead. You can. I mean, maybe you can't. Can you not?
I think so. I don't think you can cure undead. That's always been a 5e thing, unless they've changed it recently. I didn't hear about it. There are some features. There are some things. Spell name cure wounds.
It's not list. Oh, no effect on undead or constructs. Cool.
Yeah, cure wounds. Most curing spells don't work, but there is something that says, was it autognome or something that said?
Well, let's say spells that. Let's say for the purpose of spells that detect or abjure undead.
Right. Yeah.
Such as divine sense. What's the thing that clerics do when they channel divinity and make dead people scared?
Turn undead.
Turn undead. Protection from evil.
And turn undead, destroy undead. Yeah.
That way you can still heal. And let's give it one more positive.
Yeah. I reckon
you were mentioning something about like a necrotic attack or something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking like basically like sapping somebody else's life form that you can. Oh, maybe it's when you hit with an attack number of times a day, you can force the creature you hit to expend one of its hit dice, and you regain that many hit points. Because then it's not directly targeted. Yeah, then it's not directly related to the amount of damage you do or anything like that. But it's like using you're expending their hit dice.
That's fun.
Could be fun.
When you hit a creature and then attack, you can something and let's say you can force the creature to make a what's the rarity we want this item to be? Uncommon?
I think now that we're going a little higher with that, I'd say rare probably.
All right, so we'll say 15. 15 con save. On a failure, they immediately expend a hit die, and you gain that.
You gain hit points equal to
resting,
the amount rolled.
and you gain
Hit points equal.
Oh
to
yeah,
the
we could
amount
just.
rolled. Not as if resting is then they regain themselves.
Once you use, how many times a day do we want to use this feature? Once per short rest, once per day.
Proficiency bonus is kind of the direction that everything goes in later 5e.
Now, I disagree with putting proficiency bonus on magic items, but I'm accepting it here.
Yeah, I'd say that. It's more of a class feature thing, right?
Yeah.
Rather than like a charge thing, maybe
the other thing that is tricky about it is it's just hard. It's hard to power balance that way.
It would. Yeah, I reckon we don't. I reckon we get rid of the proficiency bonus. We say this charge has this item has 3 charges.
Yeah.
This item has 3 charges. When you hit a creature with an attack, you can expend 1 charge to force a creature to make a blah blah blah, and a failure they immediately expend a hit dice, and you gain hit points equal to the amount rolled.
It's an interesting item. It's pretty good.
Expend and roll hit dice. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so you gain double whenever you second wind. Non-magical plants within 10 feet of you die. Item has 3 charges. You can expend it to steal some of their hit points. But while it's cursed, whenever you expend hit dice, you regain half. Whenever you expend hit dice to recover hit points during a short rest, you regain half the normal hit points in your count as undead. There are times when you recover hit points from a hit dice, regardless. So when you so for instance, there's a spell called Wither and Bloom that you can do a bunch of necrotic damage in an area, and anyone in that area can also then expend a hit dice to regain some hit points, like as if they're short resting. So do we want that to still? Is it any time that you're regaining hit points with a hit dice? Have you expend hit dice to recover?
I think we say during a rest. During.
So you can still regain full hit points by features like Wither
by
and Bloom,
magics
or
and stuff.
Like
Yeah.
There's a dwarven thing. That
Well, actually, it might be.
well.
Actually, no. I take it back. I think it's whenever you expend a hit die, you recover half. You recover half. I think it's whenever, because this is pretty powerful in terms of the healing we're getting out of it.
Regain half the what did you add? The amulet regains all charges nightly at midnight. Yeah. Cool. Usually at dawn. Do you like to recover?
Depends on the vibe of the item.
Yeah.
I make items that charge in all sorts of weird ways. I have some items that I have to. One of my favorite items was an item that was I was playing like a piratey campaign, and they had an item that needed to be dunked in. It needed to be submerged in fresh water for an hour to recharge, and then after that hour, that body of fresh water turned into seawater. So they would and it was a pirate campaign, so they were on their boats. So they would bring barrels of water to recharge the item, and it would and they'd have to dump the barrels afterwards because it was seawater. It wasn't potable afterwards.
That's very cool. I like that a lot. The closest I've come to doing something like that is like some of the items that recharge on dawn. The main character in the Twitch Tales game went to the Feywild, and they discovered that that it's permanently twilight there, and so dawn isn't a thing, and so they quickly
there's
learned,
so many things
they
that don't
quickly learned,
recharge.
oh
in the
shit, my
Feywild.
things don't recharge, and so they then had to do a bunch of research. They went to a library and researched a guy who had done a similar thing in the Shadowfell where there's no dawn, and he was like, if you pray to the god of light and the god of the sun and the god of dawn, he can recharge the things for you, and you can do that infinitely many times if you want. You could recharge it immediately by praying to the god again, but the chances of the god being interested in helping you out goes down significantly.
He's way down.
If
Yeah.
the god's like, no, fuck you, not interested. So you have to make a religion check, and the DC goes up if it based on how short a time it's been since you last prayed to him.
I love that. Yeah. That is partly why I like items that recharge at weird times, is that it turns it into, you know why? Because I think that a magic item that recharges on very specific circumstances is the best of both worlds of a one-time use item and a always use item, because people are really hesitant to use the one-time use items.
Yes.
So they end up never using them. But if you make your item, it can recharge. It's just tricky to recharge it.
You just gotta do some.
You can make it a lot more powerful, and then it also makes it like people are gonna mess around with it. They're gonna use it.
I love giving out one time use items, just giving them out just a huge rate. Like when my home game party killed a hag and were looting her house. I just was like, here's a table of just a million different things that you can use, but they're all one-time use stuffs, and a lot of them were like super powerful items that I knew that they wouldn't want to use because of moral reasons. Like I made them like, here's the item of so-and-so, but it's a hag version of it, so it's real. Like there was a potion of spider climb, but in order to eat it, they had to in order to drink it, it was, instead of a potion, it was like a little vial that had a live gecko in it, and they had to just eat the live gecko if they wanted the potion of spider climb. And another one was like Heward's handy haversack, but it was a woman's torso of one of her previous victims, and she was like hollowed out, and her like breasts were the side pockets, and her arms, her wrists were stitched to her hips, so that was so like intense. The straps of the. And they were like, "This is fucking gross. We need to give it like a proper burial and stuff instead of using this powerful magic item." And so I did that and like just messed with them, and some of them, the ones they were like, this is powerful enough that we should use it. I can get around. I can get my head around. Like I can.
Morality,
like one of them was,
I will turn down a little bit.
I give them the nozzles pigments or whatever they're called. The ones that if you paint anything, it comes to life. It comes real. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, but it was the pot that it came in was like a very small skull, and they kept being like, is it a child's skull? And I was like, I mean, it might be, or it might be a hobbit skull, or it might be a leprechaun skull. And they were like, I'm just going to assume it's a leprechaun skull, because then I'm okay with using it. And they just kind of like, I'll just pretend like I don't know what this is, and then I'll use it because it's a powerful item.
I feel like hags, we've actually talked about this before. I feel like hags are a weird thing in D&D. Like, hags are a good place to figure out what your party's comfortable with.
Yes,
before you use them. Because I feel like a hag can just sort of be like a spooky, ominous, scary thing in the woods, or it could be sort of goofy. But a lot of like the lore, it's like they are almost more evil than like devils.
Oh yeah, for
like
sure.
They're like the nastiest of the monsters
because they're so much more malicious. Like devils are just they're just going for what they need. They need you to sign a contract so they can take your soul once you're dead. But they don't really care what you do in your life. As soon as they've contracted to take your soul, they're like, devils are like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. I don't care. I'm on with what I'm doing. I'm working. Devils feel to me more like people working for like an insurance company who are just like, I know that the company I'm working for is inherently evil. Because you've all been paying your premiums through the nose for 10 years, and then the first time you actually get into an accident, we're not going to pay out, and we're going to jump through loopholes to make sure we don't pay, and all of this stuff. And the devils just feel like those people. The people on the customer service of like you call them and they're just like, oh no, computer says no. That feels like devils. Whereas hags are like, oh, I'm spending every waking moment thinking of how I can make people miserable.
Yeah. Every single thing I do is only better if it makes you uncomfortable and feel bad. Gotta love them. Yeah, I don't know. My
So,
players
Black Crest,
are
thank you for the prime.
they like who gave you a prime?
Black Crest gave me a prime.
Black Crest. Um, yeah, my players tend to lean goofy in the way that I run my games and the way that they play. Like, I think that like the main group that I play for, the main group that I run for right now, are people that are like my old friends. Like my old friends from high school. So there's a vibe of like we're just sort of fucking around and being goofy. And two of them have kids, and it's like their night off. So there's this element of like, you kind of just want to keep it fun and light. They're not really trying to have like a deep emotional, hectic journey. I like games like that, but most of my players. I talked about this off stream. I yearn for a game where people are like really in it, not just in like a story way, but in like a I want a game to be hard.
Yeah.
Like I haven't had players like that in a long time.
Use a
because if your players aren't like that, then what ends up happening is you just don't get to use anything fun against them because it will kill them because they don't know how to think about strategizing. Ooh, a Cloak of the Statue. Petrified is strong. We're petrifying ourselves?
Yeah, I reckon. You remain aware of your surroundings. I don't know, it just came to me. I was like, oh, I got the idea of like having a cloak that you can kind of like throw around yourself and it just turns you into a statue. Because I figured like it was, I was for some reason I was just went, oh, some sort of feature that allows you to hide in plain sight kind of thing. It's an item that allows you to hide in plain sight. And I was like, oh, turn yourself into a statue in the middle of a town square. The town guards are running after you and you just like strike a pose and they just run past you. Or something like that. I thought it might be fun. What needs to change though? You remain aware of your surroundings, and can.
Somebody in my chat asked the question that I'm so confident is not a real question, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Yeah, a CR16 Mummy Lord and extra mummies against the party of 4 level 6 characters would probably be hard. There's a little bit of a discrepancy and challenge there.
Yeah.
I do like throwing monsters that are way over my players' ability to fight against my players. You just got to give them outs, and you got to sort of, highlight that they can do other things. One of my favorite things to do when players are traveling, and when they're like level 4 or level 5, like pretty low level, is to have like a rock or some, CR10 plus giant monster that's just a natural beast attack them. And they're like, what? How do I fight? This is a bird as big as a city block. Like, this is not fair, Cinder. Why are we fighting this? But you try to run it realistically. And if a monster, if a wolf is hunting, or if a tiger or a lion are hunting, if they get kicked enough in the head by the thing that they're being hunted, that they're hunting, they're gonna stop hunting because they decide it's not worth the meal. So the easiest way to throw really powerful monsters at your players and have it be okay is don't think about how many hit points the monster has. Just be like, when they're done, when they deal 50 hit points of damage, it's going to leave.
Yeah.
50 hit points of damage, or maybe, you can make that a different number. But pick whatever number is appropriate based on its total hit points.
Yeah.
And be like how much, what percent of that is worth it?
For me, with beasts, it's always bloody. Like when they get the bloody condition, which is like when they hit half their hit points, or if I'm using my range, as we discussed earlier, like it's when they hit the minimum amount to kill it. I'm like, oh shit! Now the beast's like, no, I don't want to die, and they'll scalper almost immediately. And then case by case, I'll go like, is it a mama bear protecting young? Then she'll fight much further than that. Has she gotten then wounded as well? Like are they just able to get her to the bloody condition, but she's also got them to the bloody condition before that? Because then she's like, I think I can win this. I'll always like case by case it, but ultimately, don't be afraid to have your monsters flee. Same with like minions and stuff. If you kill the goblin boss, the rest of the goblins should probably go, oh fuck. At the very least, roll a morale check at the start of each goblin's turn to be like, wisdom check, see if it's gonna keep fighting. Nah, he's not. He's gonna run.
In a game I was running I had like I like games that are very interplanar. And I had a setting where there was like a big forest that was heavily influenced by the Feywild. It was basically like a slice of the Feywild was like bleeding into the material. So it had all sorts of weird magical creatures there. Nice. But one of the magical creatures that I loved so much was a colony of people that looked like minotaurs, but they were like 4 or 5 inches tall, and they were called mini-tours.
Mini-tours.
And basically, the way that they worked was that they would pile on top of each other to sort of like build giant monsters, and they would elect. The way that I played them is that they would have like every single day would be like a life cycle. So when you would talk to one, and they would be like, "Our forefathers told us of the day adventurers would come and need to cross our bridge," and because it's like, yeah, we were here 3 days ago. It's like, yes, many generations ago. We were told of you. That. But the whole idea was that they had always had one that was the leader. Every generation there was one that was the leader. And if you killed the one that was the leader, the rest would just run away, and they would fall to anarchy. And the idea was like, if you killed their leader, they would just go crazy and start like it would be like society crumbling. It would be like what happens in the United States if the internet and electricity turn off. Like so the players just got to a point where if they were trying to be friendly with the Minotaurs, they would talk to them. But they also remembered that, like, if we aren't here for 3 months, they're not going to remember us because it's going to be like 30 generations later. So if they didn't want to deal with them, they would just figure out which one, and they all would wear they would have a special hat if they were the king of the Minotaur. So they would just find the one with the special hat and kill it, and then just walk by. But before they realized that, it was like a fairly challenging fight because it essentially was like a way that I could make it sort of any monster I wanted because they would like, link together to become different monster shapes.
Like a, what do they call them? Megazord.
Yeah, that's exactly what they would do. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Let me just resize some things that I should have resized a lot earlier. Sorry. All right. Hey, what do you want? I'm not a professional streamer.
None of us are.
There you go.
You are a professional streamer now. You have the click next to you.
I have a
When do I get the click? How do I get the click? Give me that click, baby.
Maybe
I might never get it. I might never get it if I keep streaming on YouTube, but I like streaming on YouTube.
Yeah, you got to get everybody to convert to Twitch until you get the tick, and then you can get rid of it because then you can go back to whatever you need to do because they can't take it from you, baby. You need 70 something streamers, 75 views.
I definitely sit around that when I'm all on one channel. When I split between two, I'm like bigger on YouTube, smaller on Twitch.
Yeah, I gotta grow my YouTube. I'm at 12,000 on YouTube or something. I'll get there.
That's okay. Building.
We'll get there. We'll build. I've got ideas for YouTube shorts and things that are gonna help bring people in. All right. How are you for time, by the way? How long do you normally stream?
I could do a little bit longer. I have some more editing work I need to do later tonight because I'm a procrastinator. So I got a little bit. I could go a little bit longer. I could end soon. What do you want to do?
Let's make a couple more things. I really like this Cloak of the Statue. I'm genuinely gonna steal that for my own items document later. And
I think it's solid.
Probably the copycat dagger as well. It's a couple of these.
It's probably rare. Depending on how often you do it, it's either rare or very rare. Because petrified is pretty good. You're resistant to all damage types.
Yeah, resistant to all damage, and you're immune to a couple of different damage types. It also my main idea is that you're probably going to use it for like stealth and stuff, but it could also be useful if you are getting close to death and you're like, it's a last ditch effort. Like, somebody come and help me, please. And they're like, I can't get to you for the next 3 rounds because of whatever. And you're like, all right, fuck it. Just stone yourself
my first thought was like casting it to jump off a cliff.
But if you shatter, but it does specify in the petrified condition, if you shatter, you're fucked. Like you can't.
Yeah, but you're gonna take half damage on all that fall damage.
You are, but maybe it's because I use fall damage very differently to the rules as written. Maybe that's why.
Oh yeah.
Because fall damage rules as written caps out at 70 damage. Like you could fall a mile. You could do the Felix Baumgartner edge of space swan dive and land on the ground on your face, like head first, and take 70 damage, which I hate.
Yeah. Well, there is terminal velocity.
There is, but it's a shit ton more than 70.
All right, fair.
70 damage. Like at level
Fair.
3, a barbarian can tank any amount of fall damage in the world, which is ridiculous.
That's why I love barbarians. Do you have a favorite class? Do you have a favorite class to play?
I love wizards, monks, and rogues mostly. Those are my
I've
three
never
faves.
played a wizard, and I've never played a monk.
I just played a wizard in the Dragonlance setting, and oh boy, it was the first time that I'd ever gone all the way from level 1 through to the end. Like we ended the campaign at level 11, and then we did like an epilogue session where I over the next year I gained another 6 levels. So by the end of it, like I'd gone from level 1 to level 17 in the space of a year.
What ninth
It
level
was
spells did you take?
Wish and Time Stop. But it was just for the epilogue, so it was not super useful except for the wish, which as part of the epilogue, something very sad happened. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't watched it because it was
Don't spoil it.
Incredible story.
Don't spoil it.
But a very interesting progression for the wizard, let's say. But yeah, I like wizards. I like rogues, and I like monks. They're probably my favorites. I didn't have a soft spot for barbarians at all. Like I was kind of thought they were boring and useless for a while. Like when I first started playing. But then a friend of mine was running a game for like 3 or 4 of us, just a home game. And after a session or two, he was like, "Man, it's really hard to make encounters for you guys because none of you are tanky, none of you have high hit points. You're all kind of squishy spellcasters." Mm-hmm. And so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just fill a niche. I'll table my my wizard that I was playing at the time, like Sherlock Holmes style wizard. I was like, I'll table him and I'll just make a fighter barbarian that used to be a soldier. And he was one of my favorite characters ever made. And he was I think he was. I went straight barbarian with him, but I acted like he was more of a fighter than a barbarian. And his rage was like
reflavor those.
His rage was like PTSD from having been a soldier, and like his entire platoon got wiped out by an Umber Hulk and stuff, and he was responsible for all their deaths and things, or at least he thought he was. And so anytime that anybody was in danger around him, it would trigger his rage. Like I chose early on that he wasn't able to voluntarily go into a rage. And he also wasn't voluntarily able to stop a rage either. Like he would beat a guy, and if he chose a target, he would just beat that guy until well after he was dead. Like he would get at one point I was beating against a hobgoblin and I was like tearing his ribs apart and stuff. And so one of the clerics in the party had to like get in the habit of casting command on me, or like try and calm me down after a fight and be like, they're all dead, it's okay. He was one of my favorite characters. He was amazing. So yeah, since then I've been like, you know what? All the classes are pretty fun. I have made a point.
The thing is, they are all fun. They are all fun. Even like everybody shits on the monk and the ranger. First of all, the ranger is just great now, but also the monk is also really good. It's just, you know where they're not good? They're not good in the incredibly sterile white room experiment environment where there is no D&D. There is just numbers bumping into each other. But that is just not the way that most people play D&D.
That's not how the game goes.
The other thing is, like, I don't know, man. I feel like if you're a dungeon master, you figure out how to match the balance of the... Like, my game changes so dramatically depending on what my players are. If one of my players is a monk, I design the game with that in mind. So it's
exactly.
That's like the point of playing D&D. Is that like
if you've got a ranger in the party, I'm not going to hand wave the exploration parts of D&D.
Yeah, it becomes bespoke. It's like it's such an important part of it.
I don't remember if it was you or somebody else I was talking to about this recently, but somebody was saying like rangers are kind of crap, and I was like, no, they're not. In the same way that if I was playing in a game where of the 3 pillars of D&D that they keep talking about, if I just was playing in a game where I never put combat into the game, or any time that combat happened, I just hand waved it and just kind of made it a narrative thing, then playing as a barbarian or a fighter would be like, barbarians suck. All of their features are about things that never come up. And it's just the same for ranger. Like, if you're playing in a game where the DM's constantly just hand-waving around exploration and, like, surviving and wilderness exploration and stuff, then, of course, all of the features of the class that is about being good at that stuff is going to make the entire class feel like it's bad.
Yeah, I think the problem, or the tricky thing is that There is not a gameplay loop that is described and given for exploration in the same way that there is for combat. So, like, for example, with the Ranger, all of their features are really good for exploration, but they're not really giving, because there's no core mechanics to interact with, they're kind of vague features. Like, they do things, but they do things outside of the boundary of as a barbarian, I feel like, even just the rage mechanic. I know when I'm raging, I do a little bit more damage, sure, but I get advantage on all my athletics and strength checks, which means I can directly be doing stuff with grappling and shoving and stuff and disarming if my dungeon master is cool. And with a ranger, you're better at stuff, but it's not like here now. How it's not like you guys used to have to roll initiative to do this, and this, and now when you roll initiative, you get a bonus to that. Because no, you don't roll initiative for exploration; you're just fucking doing it.
Yeah, I get you.
I like Rangers so much, though.
Rangers are cool. I'm genuinely a fan of all the classes I've played. I've played them all at least once. I played the Barbarian a couple times. There was another Barbarian I played that was like a Zealot Barbarian, and I played her like more of a cleric. Like I reflavored her rage into like a holy state of mind. Like I think she was she worshipped a god of fighting, a god of war, a god of tactics, or something like that. And so when she went into a rage, it was her like praying to the god of war to be like, grant me the tactics needed to strike true and do extra damage and stuff, and sort of reflavoring it that way. And she had this like holy shield around her that was how she was having all of the incoming damage.
That's cool.
I just love reflavoring stuff when you're playing a character.
Yeah, me too. I had a barbarian that was also a religious barbarian. This is what made me think of it, is that they worshipped a god of blood. And they believed that spilling blood was like, giving offerings to the gods. Nice. So whenever they would go to battle, they would be incredibly respectful of the people they were fighting as they were like cutting them open, because it was like, we are performing a ritual together. So there was like a great amount of like respect in that, but it was also like outside of that, they were just sort of a crazy person. But they were a beast barbarian, and I flavored all of their beast barbarian powers as them manipulating the blood of their body. So the idea was like that blood would like pool out of their fingers and turn into these claws, or out of their mouth and turn into these big tusks, and things. It was cool. So they were like, you ever see? They basically were like growing. They were like cutting their body open, and then the blood would like flow around them to become like what they fought with. It was fun.
That's cool. I like that.
One of my favorite reflavorings that I did recently, I actually made a video on, was reflavoring a samurai fighter as a time manipulation person. You reflavor fighting spirit as the ability to slow down time around you, action surge, you're speeding up, using your wisdom for charisma checks because you can like very quickly analyze someone. Getting their extra thing that they get at a higher levels, like you can speed yourself up, and then like the fighting beyond death thing that they get at 18th level is like you slow down your body so much that you're dead, but you get to do a whole other round before like time catches up with you, and it like worked really well. So this just makes the samurai so much cooler.
I like that. Yeah, that's really cool.
The kerchief of the bandit. This handkerchief, while used to cover the face, grants the wearer advantage on intimidation checks.
Just for some reason, I just had in mind like an item that you can, like an old-fashioned Wild West robber, like a train robber with the thing up.
It should give them advantage on intimidation, but disadvantage on persuasion.
Yeah.
Because they're scary.
Scary persons. And there was another thing I was going to do. You also have advantage on any check made to praise the monetary worth of an item. So they can steal stuff and be like, yeah, that's actually pretty. They can look at what somebody's wearing and go like, those earrings are pretty expensive. Whatever.
What if it's this? Okay, it's a handkerchief, right? Yeah. It's going over your face.
Yeah.
What if instead of you having advantage on checks to appraise the monetary worth of thing, because you're breathing through the mask, it gives you the power to smell wealth.
Oh, that's cool.
So what if,
Yeah.
while it's over your face, people that are carrying gold money of a certain value or higher, like, give off a certain distinct odor?
Yeah, I
Something
like
like
that. Yes. While wearing the kerchief over the nose and mouth.
Creatures within 30 feet of you that are carrying more than 100 gold worth of valuables give off the distinct smell of, I don't know, I keep saying lavender, but I don't think it should be lavender.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Orange. Creatures within 30 feet of you. You can.
It could also be. It could also be like, how is it written for the?
How do you mechanically say that they smell stronger?
There's a Zorn has a treasure sense ability. How do they write it?
Oh yeah.
Let's see what Zorn gets. It can pinpoint the scent and location of precious metals, stones, such as coins and gems, within 60 feet of it. Oh, that doesn't really help.
You can pinpoint while wearing the kerchief of the nose and mouth. You can smell wealth. Using your sense of smell, you can pinpoint the location of items worth more than 100 gold or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Using
the smell of cinnamon. The smell of cinnamon.
Smell. You can pinpoint the location of items within 30 feet worth more than 20 gold pieces, and items within 60 feet worth more than 50 gold pieces, or something like that.
Somebody in my chat said you can smell treasure, but you can't smell anything else.
that's
not a bad idea either.
You can only.
That could also be if you are playing an adventure where you're like doing like a Wild West, you're train robbers, living in the desert vibe. That's a benefit because you don't have to smell anybody.
Yeah, you can pull the thing up, and it's only like, it's not like a cursed item because you can just take it off if you need to smell stuff. You can just be like,
yeah,
I need to smell wealth, and then you're smelling the wealth. You're like given advantage on intimidation checks, get your money or your life, and then once you're done, you're like, okay, now I can smell stuff again if I need.
You're like, oh, okay, give me a second.
Let's get out of here.
This gold is stinky gold.
Says some sticky gold.
Are there any? Have you ever run or played in a either like a modern setting where it was like our world but with magic, or like a modern technology setting, or a future technology setting, but not Eberron, not steampunk? I'm talking more sci-fi or real.
I've not
world,
run those games with a caveat. I have played in a couple of games, just like one shots and stuff, where I've played myself, like in the modern day kind of thing. I got killed by Krampus one time as me in a Christmas
classic.
And I got turned into my friend Dreaded GM ran a stream, a one-shot stream that was Monster Manual Park, like a Jurassic Park thing. But like the Monster Manual item monsters, and there was like I can't even remember why, but there was like a convoluted setup to that where I was playing myself at the start of that stream, and then I turned into a different character halfway through or something. I can't even remember why. Then there's like one time recently I played a sponsored game for a Kickstarter for a new system outside of TTRPGs, outside of D&D. That was a setting and genre agnostic system, is what it's called, and it was designed to be like, hey, you can play in any setting. And so for that part of that, I just kind of had them jumping around all these different settings, all the characters. I ran this on my channel, and I had them very temporarily jump into present day at one point during that. But no, I don't really find my interest lies with present day modern technology kind of settings. How about you?
I've done something similar where I had people come to a modern day setting as their fantasy characters for like a session or two. I called it they went to the realm of glass and steel, but they basically just went to like a city with skyscrapers and stuff.
Dag reminds me as well. I have played City of Mist, which was very good. That's set in modern day stuff.
Yeah, City of Mist is cool. I really want to play in a sci-fi game. I've never played in a sci-fi game, but I would like to do like high fantasy style sci-fi where it's basically fantasy just with technology, but like planets and aliens and stuff.
Yeah,
I'd like to play
a Starfinder
like
game for a few sessions. That was fun. Starfinder was fun, just basically sci-fi Pathfinder. And I've played in, what was the other sci-fi game that I've done? I ran it Did I run it? No, I played in it. I played in a one-shot for the Dungeon Cast. Do you know the Dungeon Cast? They're a D&D podcast. I had them on my channel a while back for Short Rest. And
wait, is this who I think it is? Let me look them up, because if they are who I think they are, have they been around for a long time?
Oh, they've been around ages, yeah. Will and Brian from the Dungeon Cast. They're two dudes that talk about D&D. They basically talk through.
No, I know. I just need to see the video to see if they are who I think they are, because these might be the first. I think these are the first D&D podcasts that I listen to.
It's difficult because everybody sounds like the same freaking names. Like there's Dungeon Dudes and the Dungeon Cast and the Dungeon this and the Dungeon that. Yeah, I had them on, and they did a Kickstarter for a setting that is like sci-fi D&D kind of thing, and I ran in that one. It was a lot of fun. I was like I was a warlock subclass that was like my patron was like technology or something, so I had a bunch of like techno things I could do.
Yeah, I like that stuff. I want to go to space. I want to go to space.
Space travels. Was it the guys
if you were
gonna
run? Do you have any okay, questions for you? You don't have to answer them if you don't want to. Are you planning on doing now that Dragonlance is finished? Are you planning on, or just in general, are you planning on starting any larger semi long form or like medium long form? You know, maybe not a year, but like 10 episodes. Arcs, live streams or pre-recorded.
TBC. I'm doing a lot of travel this year, even more than I thought I was, because something came up recently that's like, hey, we might pay for you to fly out to this thing, and I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
That's cool. Tell them that they better pay.
They better pay.
First class,
and put me up. The meal, as if that's the sticking point. They're like, no, we'll put you up we'll get you first class in a 5-star hotel, but we're not going to pay for a meal on the plane. As if first class doesn't come with a meal as well. What kind of first class are you flying?
I've never been in first class before. Crazy Moose, thank you for the 5 subs. That is very nice.
Crazy Moose? That's crazy.
Crazy Moose is in the Navy, and he's also in the desert.
He's in the Navy in the desert. I think he's lost, because there's no reason for the Navy to be in the desert.
Maybe the Navy has lost a little bit there, but hopefully he's free from it.
What annoys me is that things don't stay in their lane, and I usually I usually get annoyed about this because of social media, like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. They're all the fucking same thing now. All trying
he's Top
to make
Gun. He's doing Top Gun. You know Top Gun. He's doing Top Gun.
Whereas it also applies to the fact that the Air Force have more fucking tanks than they have planes, and the Navy has got like an air division, and the Army is like no, you shouldn't. The Navy's the fucking stop. Just stay in your lane, kids. Navy, stay on the water. Air Force in the air and the Army on land. That's how it should be.
We'll tell you when you can land.
We'll tell you
when you can land.
You have to get approval from the Army, because then you're landing on the Army's base. Unless you're landing on an aircraft carrier in the water, because then you need approval from the Navy.
You could have those planes with the buoy feet where they can land in the water.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're allowed. Anyway.
They don't use those on jets anymore.
You were asking about me running a game. I am doing a lot of travel. I'm traveling pretty much all of March, and then I'm traveling again in May, and then I'm traveling again in all of August and most of September, and then I'm traveling again in October, and then I'm traveling again in December.
Are you going to Gen Con this year?
I am, yes. I'm going to be very excited. Are you going?
I am. We're gonna hang out in
Hey,
person.
we're gonna hang out
my
in
goal,
person, yay.
my goal is to hang out with. I have like 3 or 4 people that I'm like, I actually want to hang out with this person and not just like,
I want
hey,
to
you look
network
cool.
with this guy, but I want to make
No,
sure I
the
actually
people,
spend time with this guy.
I want to hang out with you, and I want to hang out with Zach. Those are like the 2 people that I'm like, I want to see these people as people.
So
probably
yes,
some
I'm
other
in
people
Gen
I'm
Con,
forgetting
but
about, but-
because of all of that travel stuff, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna fit stuff into my channel yet. I do have a pretty nice period of time between like May, June, July, and then I've got another small period of time in like late October, November. So I do want to do some stuff on my channel. I do want to start running things on my channel. I want to start showing people who know me just through Viva La Dirt League, hey, I'm a dungeon master for other things too. Come and watch my stuff through my own right. Come and enjoy my work outside of Viva La Dirt League. And so I
forgot to say, I'm sorry, I always forget that. Hey, if you're on my show, that is the thing that Rob does. He's on Viva La Dirt League. He's their dungeon master.
It's what I'm most well known for. I'm the dungeon master for
But I always-
comedy group Viva La Dirt League.
I always forget. I watched my very first Viva La Dirt League skit 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, was it one of the D&D Logic skits that's coming out?
It was the
Oh, don't tell me it was the poo one. That it wasn't the poo. It wasn't the one about pooing in a tavern.
I won't tell you it was the poo one then.
That was not the first skit you ever watched of D&D Logic.
That was the first
stuff.
That was the first. That was
Jesus Christ.
That was the first Viva La Dirt League skit I've ever seen.
Oh Jesus fuck! That gives such bad impression as to what the rest of it is like.
I watched a couple more. I liked it a lot. I liked it.
Bello Yellow's laughing their ass off that
it.
that's the first one you
I'll
watched.
tell you
Those
what.
mythical Horus, Bello and Yellow. They're all fucking laughing their pit. Oh yeah. You need to go back and watch D&D Logic Season 1 on Viva La Dirt League's channel. That's the one that I was a showrunner for. I wrote D&D Logic Season 1, all 10 episodes. I was in charge of a lot of the decisions. So if you want to see my work, with
maybe
Viva
I'll
La
do
Dirt
that
League
before I
D&D,
go to bed tonight. Then.
Go watch
that'll
the
be my
D&D Logic
before
Season
bed.
1. There's 10 skit episodes and they're very funny.
I will say this though. I have seen some of the. I haven't watched any of the full sessions, but I've seen like good chunks of sessions of you've run for those guys, like the game proper.
Yeah.
It's a aside. I don't know what they are like as people or even as performers outside of those little skits, but it does seem like a genuinely like positive chemistry group. Like I there's a
they all go along very well. Yeah.
When you watch people play D&D, I do feel like you get a sense of like what they are like.
How they are like.
It's hard to like really put on a mask the whole game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's such a long game. Yeah.
And it's stressful. There's moments of like frustration and anger. Like there's stuff that happens. And I was like, it seems like that'd be a lot of fun to play D&D with. But yeah, I was impressed enough. Okay, I didn't watch. I'll watch your season, the one that you were the showrunner. But I'll say this: I watched enough of their what is it called? D&D
Logic, or
I watched enough D&D Logic to be like, this is. I was like, if I saw these people in the world, and I say to you now, good job. It's good.
Thank you.
Because there's so much fucking stuff. But the thing is, the difference between something being pretty good and something being good is a mountain. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's a mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, if you want to go check it out after this stream, go check out D&D
Yeah, they have a
Logic on
poo
YouTube.
sketch, guys. They made a poo sketch.
The most recent D&D Logic episode is it starts off with a guy in a tavern going, "Have you guys ever pooed?" I don't think I've ever pooed in this campaign. And then they talk about that, and then he rolls for it, and hilarity ensues. If you like poo jokes,
but also you play you do something during those shows that is so good because you're the dungeon master, so you're sort of sitting in both worlds at the same time, and you just have this face of like exacerbation and frustration and reluctance that is like subtle, but also like ironclad. It's very good. It's like a subtle look that hits hard, and it's good. I like it.
Thank you. I like that you like it.
Yeah.
Are we done, or are we making someone else? What are we doing?
I normally end stream way later than this, but I'm thinking about that I need to
You gotta
do
do
more
some
editing.
editing, mate. You gotta do some editing.
Yeah, I gotta do some
And
editing. It's not even a lot, but it's just a lot.
if people are still donating and giving bits and subs, then you can keep going with the stream. But if people if that peters out, you gotta be that's where you gotta use to be like, you know what, I am not earning anything by streaming for another hour. Whereas I would be earning something if I start editing my videos and start putting them out there to be earning money.
I hate thinking about it that way.
Unfortunately,
yes.
you kind of gotta. If it's a full-time gig for you, you've got to.
Yeah, no,
think,
but you
like,
don't say it out
gotta...
loud. You don't say it out loud.
Of course you do. People, I'm open with my people. They understand. This is how I pay for my mortgage. This is a full-time gig for me, and I pay for my mortgage through bits and subs and donations and people supporting me on Patreon and the very tiny amount of ad revenue that I get from YouTube. And so I've got to be like, hey, if I'm not getting bits and subs and stuff from this stream, if I'm still enjoying it, I'm still gonna be here. But I also can be like, 3.5 hours is probably enough time for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Whatever. Me too. I'm also that, guys.
Yep.
So give me your fucking money. Give it to me. Rain it down upon me. I'll drink it up. I'll be like a capitalism vampire, just like suck up the economy. No, but I do think I am going to end things soon. I will raid you, though. Are you going to be streaming more, or are you done?
No, I'm done. I'm going to go get some stuff done. I've got a lot of stuff to work on. I've got shorts that I sent you yesterday. Thank you very much for the advice, by the way. Very handy.
Yeah.
I've got a new short series that I'm bringing out on YouTube, and I sent it to Cinder and to Zach, because they're the two people that I'm like, hey, you have success with shorts and YouTube and stuff. Give me some ideas.
Yeah. Also, not tonight, but at some point, let's not on camera talk, and I can sort of show you what my process is.
Show me some stuff. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great stuff.
Dude, this has been great. This has been so much fun.
This is a lot of fun. You're a lot of fun.
Dude, you're so.
I'm glad I'm glad we got to know each other. You came up on my YouTube shorts and stuff, and I was like, this guy seems fun. And then every time you did all of the videos, you'd start with like some comment asking a question, and I'd like pause it and be like, how would I answer that? Because I like to just keep my my faculties sharp regarding D&D. I like to constantly be training myself, and I'm like, how would I answer that? And then I'd start the video, and you'd just do the exact same thing. I'd be like, yep, he's good. He and I share an idea of how to run the game and what makes for a good game and stuff.
I think we have similar attitudes towards problem solving and towards humor.
Yeah, very much. Alrighty, well, buddy. This was fun. I'm a raid into you so that people here get to see where your channel is, and then you raid into me, and then it comes down to who can raid the other one first.
Slowly but surely fall in love. All right, buddy. I'm gonna hang up on you now, though.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for being here, everybody. This was a lot of fun. Impromptu stream. So make sure to follow if you're here from CinderBlocksally's community. Appreciate it. Make sure to give generously to the content creators that you like, not just me and Cinder, but like just remember that content creators, it can take a lot of work to make content for free for stuff like YouTube and things. So if you are in a position to financially afford it, just consider supporting somebody on Patreon or something. It means a lot to your content creators. But obviously, if you're not in a financial position to afford it, then that's fine. Just treat it like your entertainment budget. If you've got a little extra money hanging around for entertainment, think how much you'd spend on going to the cinema for like 2 hours, and then just think, how many hours am I getting from this guy? And then just like maybe consider just like helping them out by the same amount. Love you all. Bye.
All hail the algorithm gods. Comment, like, and subscribe. Ooh, ah.